Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. This week, we're in the Torah portion of Vayaki. I believe we're in the 17th day, right, of the 10th month, right? All right, so this is the Masharai Yasha'Allah, Office of Torah, coming to you with the Torah portion for this week. The next new moon, mark this on your calendars, is going to be January 23rd. That's the next new moon, January 23rd at sunset on the East Coast. January 23rd on the Western Hemisphere. January 23rd is going to be the next new moon. And after that, you're going to have February 22nd. February 22nd as the 12th new moon of the last month of the year. It's going to be February 22nd. So again, January 23rd is the next new moon, and which is the 11th month, January 23rd at sunset. And February 22nd at sunset is going to be the 12th new moon. All right, again, this week's Torah portion is Vayakaya or Vayaki, which is going to be beginning in the book of Bereshit or Genesis, chapter 47, verse 28. First reading. Amadwa, Barakwa, Yabrakaya Hashem Yahusha. What do you got that? Alright, so let's have you read let's see. Let's have you just read to the end of chapter 47. Okay.
Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, and the days of Jacob, the years of his life, were 147 years.
So Jacob was in Egypt for 17 years, and he lived to be 147. Read.
The time approached for Israel to die, so he called.
So the time approached for Israel to die, meaning it was getting closer to his death. So the Most High already had planned out when Jacob's life was going to end. Go ahead.
So he called for his son, for Joseph, and said to him, "Please, if I have found favor in your eyes, please place your hand under my thigh and do needless
No.
kindness and truth with me. Please do not bury me in Egypt."
So he put his hand under the thigh, which was a very intimate form of making a promise from one man to another. You know, so you compromising, you know, that security of not having somebody's hand by your thigh, and you letting them put their hand on their thigh, and they put it there in order to make a very, very serious promise to you that they can't break. So that's what the symbol of putting the person's your hand on a person's thigh, all right, under a person's thigh to make that promise. And he's saying he does not want to be buried in He does not want to be buried in the land of Egypt. All right, go ahead.
For I will lie down with my fathers, and you shall transport me out of Egypt and bury me in their tomb. He said, I certainly personally
He said, I personally will do as you have said.
I replied, swear to me.
He replied,
swear to me, and he swore to him. Then Israel prostrated himself toward the head of the bed.
So he bowed down as his father was about to die. Kala Shara, Tabar Yahweh, Naisha, Wanashama. All that Yahweh said,
what we doing here.
what we doing here. Okay, next reading. So you're going to finish off where he left off and then read section number 2.
Amari ben Farzak, the God finished only.
Amarwa, Akwa,
Yerbaka Kami Hawa Vashimi Ashai.
Yabrakah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Go ahead. I think you go to, I think that section ends in verse 10, if I'm not mistaken. And then pick up from verse 2, somewhere in 10. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after these things that someone said to Joseph, Behold, your father is ill. So he took his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, with him. Jacob was told, Behold, your son Joseph has come to you.
Mm-hmm.
So Yashala exerted himself and sat up on his bed, on the bed.
So his spirit has gotten weaker, so now he know his favorite son, Joseph, is coming. So now he's sitting up on the bed, so he doesn't see him laying down and looking all pitiful. So he said, I want to look lively. Go ahead.
Jacob said to Joseph, Allah Shaddai had appeared to me in Luz in the land of Canaan, and he blessed me, and he said to me, Behold, I will make you fruitful and numerous. I will make you a congregation of nations. I will give this land to your offspring after you as an eternal possession.
You see that? So now Jacob is taking this opportunity to bless his son as he's about to die. So imagine that relationship that he had with his son. He felt comfortable actually blessing his children because they were all respectful and upright at this stage in their life with him and toward him. So he's going to give out these blessings to the family as he's dying. So that shows you the type of relationship we're supposed to have with our family, with our sons, all right, with our fathers. It's supposed to be a tight family relationship right there. Go ahead.
And now your 2 sons who were born to you in the land of Egypt, before my coming to you in Egypt, shall be mine.
So meaning that they're going to inherit as if they're one of my sons. Go ahead.
Ephraim and Manasseh shall be mine, like Reuben and Simeon.
So when it comes to the inheritance, they're going to get a portion also of the land that Yahweh promised to Jacob, to Yaakov. Go ahead.
But progeny born to you after them shall be yours. They will be included under the name of their brothers with regard to their inheritance. But as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died on me in the land of Canaan on the road, while there was still a stretch of land to Ephrath, and I buried her there on the road to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. Then Yashala saw Joseph's sons, and he said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons, whom Elohim has given me here. He said, Bring them to me, if you please, and I will bless them.
So he bring them to him. He's positioning, Joseph is putting Manasseh at his right hand, at Jacob's right hand. Why? Because Manasseh is the oldest. And he's putting Ephraim at his left hand because Ephraim is the youngest, the baby. So he wants Ephraim to get the little blessing. He wants Manasseh to get the big blessing because that's how it's supposed to go. That's the oldest son. He's supposed to get the bigger blessing. Go ahead.
And Yasha'Alah's eyes were heavy with age.
So his eyes were kind of, he had like maybe like a little bit of film on his eye. So he couldn't see very well. Okay? So Joseph is thinking that what's about to happen is because of his father's eyesight. But it's not. It's because his father is working. Our father Jacob is working in the spirit world now. Go ahead.
He could not sing, so he brought them near,
Mhm.
He kissed them and hugged them.
Right? So he kissed them and hugged them. All right? And these are bigger boys now. Because remember, they was born before. I know in the movie they always show them like being like little kids, right? But Jacob been there 17 years. And Ephraim and Manasseh were born before the famine started, right? And so if they were born before the famine started, that means they at least got to be how old? 17 plus 7 years of famine, right? Well, he came down on the second year of the famine, I believe, right? All right, so we know they got to be at least, and he was there for 17 years. So we know they at least are 17 years old, at least. Because they was born during a time of plenty. All right, they was born during the time, you got to go back and say exactly. But these are big, these ain't like little kids. Like you show them, oh, hey, come here. So he give them up, these are big boys. All right? So Ephraim is the father of the Puerto Ricans. All the Puerto Ricans in there. The ones that came in slavery and the ones that were already there. And then Manasseh is the father of the Cubans. The one that came in slavery and the ones that were already there. Now these tribes together formed the house of Joseph. And then all of the other tribes came up under the house of Joseph. All right, that was in the northern part of Israel, and then one tribe in the southern part of Israel, which was Simeon. That formed the house of Joseph or the house of Ephraim, and then Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, they formed the house of Judah. Everybody got that? So the house of Judah became known as the house of Judah, and then the house of Ephraim became known as the house of Ephraim, house of Joseph, and the house of Israel. The house of Israel. Because Jacob is putting his name on Joseph and Ephraim. All right? Go ahead. Okay. That's for the first aliyah, right? Go to the second aliyah. What's the second? Go ahead. Watch your Hebrew marking on the right side, so you know when Shadi Lash comes up, you stop. Go ahead.
Yasha'Allah said to Joseph, I dared not accept the thought that I would see your face, and here Allah has shown me even your offspring. Joseph then removed them from his knees and prostrated himself with his face toward the ground.
So he's bowing down to his father again. This is a high level of respect that the men have for their elders and for their fathers. He's bowing down to the ground to his father. Go ahead.
Joseph took two of them, Ephraim with his right hand to Yasha'Allah's left, and Manasseh.
So like I told you, he took Ephraim, he put Ephraim to the left hand. Go ahead. And Manasseh what?
And Manasseh with his left to Yasha'Allah's right.
So he put Manasseh over here. Everybody see that, right? Here's the blessing hand, the primary blessing hand, the first blessing, and the second blessing. Okay, go ahead.
And he drew close to him, but Yasha'Allah extended his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head.
So he takes his right hand and he does what? He does like a crossover. Everybody understand that? It's like she say, here's Ephraim, here's Ephraim, here's Manasseh. So he says one of these numbers. Oh, that's what Joseph did. Joseph said, okay, Ephraim is the big boy, Ephraim is the little boy, Manasseh is the big boy. So he said, okay, you're going to bless Manasseh because he's the big boy with the right hand. And you're going to give the little blessing to the little boy with your left hand. But Jacob said no. And he said he guided his hand what? Wittingly, meaning he knew what he was doing. Go ahead.
And laid it on Ephraim's head, though he was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head.
So he said Manasseh he put on his left hand. So he said he did like this. Look, this is what he did. He did like that. Because once that blessing goes out, man, remember Jacob, Isaac was like, nah, man, I can't do nothing for you. So I gave it to your brother. You couldn't take it back. That's why I said you can't bless and curse from the same mouth. But the Most High gave conditions. If you bless, this is gonna happen. If you curse, this is gonna happen. If you do what I say to do, if you will disobey me. In Deuteronomy chapter 28. And that's how the curses came upon us. Go ahead.
He maneuvered his hands, for Manasseh was the firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
He blessed Joseph, and he said, O Elohim, before whom my forefathers, Abraham and Isaac, walked, Elohim, who shepherds me for my interception unto this day.
Mm-hmm.
May the angel who redeems me from all the evil bless the lands, and may my name be declared upon them, and the names of my forefathers, Abraham and Isaac, and may the proliferate abundantly like fish.
So may they grow into a big multitude. Go ahead.
Joseph saw that his father was placing his
Now listen to this. What did he say? He said there was a mala'ach that redeemed him from all evil. So Jacob, and most likely us too, had a mala'ach, which is an angel, messenger from Yahweh that was protecting him and delivering him from all evil that was trying to come upon him. So when you keep your relationship right with the Most High protects you with his mala'achim. Keep going on.
Joseph saw that his father was placing his right hand on Ephraim's head,
So he said, wait, you putting the wrong hand on the wrong baby. Go ahead.
and it displeased him. So he supported his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head.
So he said, nah, man. He took his father's hand, like, no, to take it off of Ephraim's head. So he said, no, Ephraim is not the big boy. Ephraim is the baby. You give him the primary blessing. Take your hand off of him and put it on Manasseh. Go ahead.
To Manasseh's head.
Go ahead.
And Joseph said to his father,
Mm-hmm.
Not so, father, for this is the firstborn. Place your right hand on his head.
So he telling his father what to do now. He said, nah, place your hand on Manasseh's right hand, because he think Joseph is making a mistake. I mean, Joseph thinks that Jacob is making a mistake. Right? Hey, go look in the book with him. Sit up there with him properly. Everybody sit up properly, please. All the children sit up properly. Okay?
That's the end of this portion.
Okay, that says 3?
2.
2? Okay, come. All right, so the blessing mix-up is going on right now. So let's see how this works out. How's he going to change and put the blessings back? Because he told his father, you blessing Ephraim as the firstborn, and Manasseh is the firstborn. So let's see what Joseph does. Yeah, Sean?
Alright, Sean Baparzak Makan Bishala. Another Rock. Yabraka Kami Halba Shimi Halashai.
Yabalakikali Hawa Bashami Hawasha.
Genesis chapter 48, verse 18. And Joseph said to his father, Not so, father, for this is the firstborn. Place your right hand on his head. But his father refused, saying, I know, my son, I know. He too will become a people, and he too will become great. Yet his younger brother shall become greater than he, and his offspring's fame will fill the nations. So he blessed them that day, saying, By you shall Yasha'Allah bless, saying, May Elohim make you like Ephraim and like Manasseh.
So that's a blessing how we should be using. May Elohim make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And the offsprings of Ephraim supposed to be on the old earth. Now we look at Ephraim as only the Puerto Ricans, which is the primary tribe of Ephraim. But there's other groups of Ephraimites in Africa, in Central Asia. All right, I'm talking about in the Turkmenistan area. All right, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, in that area, you have remnants of the tribe of Ephraim over there also. You have remnants of the tribe of Ephraim over in West Africa also. All right, but the ones in the Caribbean are the most prolific fulfillment of the prophecies and the blessings of the tribe of Ephraim. All right, go ahead.
Then Yasha'Allah said to Joseph, Behold, I am about to die. Elohim will be with you and will bring you back to the land of your fathers. And as for me, I have given you Shechem, one portion more than your brothers, which I took from the land of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow.
Kalasharan,
Kalashara,
Debari Hawa,
Dabadi Yahweh,
Naisha,
Naisha,
Wanashama,
Wanashima.
all like how it said.
All that Yahweh said,
What we doing here?
what we do in here. So when he talks about the when he talks about the tribes, and when he talks about Ephraim and Manasseh, and he talks about the territory, remember now, Israel is the capital of the territory. That's like the main capital of our territory. But our territory goes from the Nile River in Egypt all the way up over to Haran, Turkey. All right, Haran, Turkey. Over by Haran, Turkey, over by the Euphrates River. All that territory and everything that's in between. Right, you got a little bit of, you got Syria that's in there, you have Jordan that's in there, you have Lebanon that's in there, you have Syria that's in there, you got Israel that's in there, you have Palestine that's in there, West Bank, Gaza, and you have part of Egypt that's in there. All right, and then you have Saudi Arabia that's in there. All right, Saudi Arabia, then you have some of the families of Keturah, and that's in that area also. All right, talking about Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, okay, and Oman and Yemen. All right, you have those countries over there, Bahrain, part of United Arab Emirates, that in those same places also. So that's all that's all our territory. Now, granted, a lot of that land is going to be maybe occupied at some point by other people, but we're going to be the ones in charge of those territories. All right, because we're going to have our special territory on the east coast on the eastern portion of the Mediterranean Sea, which is over by Israel, from the south all the way up to the north. That's going to be a special portion of land. You can read the book of Ezekiel from chapter 40, and he shows you how everything is going to be distributed, what the temple is going to look like, and how the land is going to be divided up between the tribes. All right, go ahead.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 1. Then Jacob called for his son and said,
So Jacob is now going to show us where these tribes are. And there's a lot of debate on where are the 12 tribes of Israel now. So we're going to go into where these tribes are. And how do we know that these tribes are here? And this is what you're supposed to be doing. There's a lot of brothers on this Negro only and native only tribe. The tribes are so-called Indian and so-called Negro. Both. Both groups of people are Israelites. All right. And when you read the Torah, you have to understand who these people are. And if you say that they're not Negro or that they're not native, you got to go into the Torah and say who they are. So our mission is to wake up our people that we know are our people. Our mission is to not go through everybody's history on the planet Earth, or every ethnic group, and prove to people that they're not Israelites. You know, that's not our mission. Our mission is to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You understand? So our job is to be over here and say, okay, well, this group, 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 this group is not Israelites. You be wasting all your time on the planet Earth doing that. You know what I mean? Groups of people there are. So what you do is look for certain characteristics and certain prophecies, certain history of these people, and certain qualities, and that fulfill what the Torah says. That's your only obligation. Your obligation is not to get a blood test. Your obligation is not to try to match it with DNA, E1, B1A, Ebola virus, or whatever. That ain't your job. Your job is to match what the prophecy says. When you start going to all this extra stuff that the Most High never commanded us to do, this is part of the Torah. This is a commandment that we understand where Jacob is. When you fulfill this mitzvah, when you fulfill the mitzvah pertaining to the tribes, it is tremendously fulfilling spiritually, because you're connecting back to the words, and you can see the words in real life of who your people are and where they are, no matter what they look like. If you got a group of Pashtun, all right, if you got a group of Pashtun, all right, doing over in Afghanistan that fulfill certain prophecies, characteristics, descriptions of Israel, then you got to accept them for what it is. Now, we know that the majority of our people were scattered according to the prophecies to be fulfilled in the land of the north, between North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. But we do have brothers and sisters scattered throughout Africa, Australia, Pacific Islands, all right, the subcontinent, India, Sri Lanka, as well as Asia. We do have groups of Israelites in those places too. But now the bulk of our people are in the Western Hemisphere. The bulk of our people that the prophecies describe are in the Western Hemisphere. All right, go ahead, Genesis 49. Gather yourselves together, go ahead.
And I will tell you what will befall you in the end of days.
So Jacob is going to tell us what's going to happen to the tribes in the last days. Why did he say that? Because he knows it's going to be a lot of confusion. You know, the tribes are going to be scattered everywhere, and they're going to be arguing and fussing amongst themselves. The tribes are always fussing and fighting and arguing. The tribes never got along. They always have internal conflicts. Go ahead.
Gather yourselves and listen,
Go ahead.
O sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father.
Go ahead.
Reuben, you are my firstborn.
So Reuben, Ra'awaban, means look a son. That's the firstborn. Go ahead.
My strength and initial vigor.
My strength and my initial vigor. The baby of my youth. He's strong. Now how do we know who Reuben is? What's a strong man gonna be? What was the most pivotal point? What was the most pivotal point moving forward positively of Jacob's life, you think?
When he had children.
When he had children, pivotal. Everybody got children.
When he left the water.
No. I mean, you can say pivotal. Most pivotal. Most pivotal is going to be when the Most High, the angel said, you not Jacob anymore. Now you are a prince of power. You have rulership and power with Elohim now. So when he physically showed this what's that word that it has right here?
My strength.
My strength. How did Jacob demonstrate his strength?
By fighting with the angel.
By fighting with the angel, by wrestling with an angel. So we're looking at a strong people. Who on the planet Earth is known for wrestling and fighting with big, deadly alligators? Besides the Seminole, Miccosukee, Appalachee, Hittite tribes down in Florida. Ain't nobody else on the planet Earth trying to wrestle with no alligators on that level. And they were doing it before the so-called white man came over there. That's part of their culture. It's part of manhood. You wrestling with these alligators, man. Oh, you a real man now. So that's the tribe of Reuben. See, these look small little things, but they're big things because there's nobody else doing them. There's nobody in Africa. There's nobody in Idaho. There's nobody in China. There's nobody in Australia wrestling with crocodiles and alligators on a level that the Seminole, the Florida natives do. Seminoles are an amalgamation. Tribes that went to go to other tribes, but they knew that they came from the people down in Florida. And they had blended in with the Creeks and some of the Choctaw. But then when the time came, they left and went back to Reuben in Florida. Okay, go ahead.
And my initial vigor.
Foremost
in rank and foremost in power.
Foremost in rank and power. Tribe of Reuben never signed any treaty with the so-called white man. Even say they had what they call holdout Indians, which are the brothers in Florida that don't even register with the U.S. government to say that they're indigenous because they don't want nothing from the U.S. government except getting my land back and I'm cool. All the other tribes have entered into agreements with the U.S. government and they under the U.S. government's jurisdiction officially. But a lot of the Reubenite tribes are not. Some of the Miccosukee families are not. Some of them are, but they have the highest percentage of Israelites that have not taken paperwork and have not registered themselves with the so-called white man's government in America. Go ahead.
Water-like impetuosity.
So unstable as water. Again, unstable as water. What do you have down in Florida? You have all of the glades, all of the little keys across the water. And you have all of the little, the Everglades down there. Unstable water. You could be walking in the water and bam. Next thing you know, the water level dropped 3 feet. And if you ain't 6 feet tall, you might drown. Muddy and wet and grasslands. And they were using that as cover to hide and to wage war against the U.S. government when they tried to fight and conquer Florida. Like under Andrew Jackson, which was one of the presidents of America. Before that, he was a general. And he tried to to take that land from the tribe of Reuben. And he was murdering our people. And they went down there chasing Judites that were running from slavery, and Gadites running from slavery. And they got absorbed into the tribe of Reuben also. Okay? So now, what's the point that we're making? The point we're making is that the tribe of Reuben is related to specifically water. Specifically water. All right? Unstable water. Unpredictable. And that's exactly how they lived in the Florida Everglades, inside the Everglades, where that water is very unpredictable. Again, we're given characteristics of people that are exclusive to them. Nobody else on the planet Earth has those two things in common. Wrestling with alligators and then living inside of an unstable water environment. Swamps, all right, Everglades, fighting against the mosquitoes. They knew how to do all of those things. Very rough living. And they were growing in that area too. Now, when you study a little bit of history, you come to find out that Issachar was born because of the mandrake that Reuben found. So what do we see? We see historically relationship between Florida and Mexico with plants and flowers and goods being traded between the two of them. More so than with Texas, or more so than Cuba and Florida with those two. Like they understood that there was a historical connection between both of them that was very strong. Because Reuben gave the mandrake to his mother. All right? And his mother gave it to Rachel, and then Jacob came to lay with her. And when Jacob came to lay with Leah, that's when Reuben was born. That's when Issachar was born. So Issachar owes the conditions of his birth to his big brother Reuben. So Issachar was always trading with Reuben when you look at the history. All right, you research it yourself. All right, go ahead. So that's the tribe of Reuben. So no matter what they look like, see, none of these characteristics are saying, oh, you got to look like this way. Now, you may have other people on the planet Earth that have these same characteristics. Now, when you find these people that have these characteristics that fill this prophecy, no matter what they look like, those are the chosen of Israel. Because the Most High is not going to have people fulfilling his prophecies that's the wrong people. Right? I got it.
You cannot be foremost because you mounted your father's bed. Then you desecrated him who ascended my couch.
All right, so he laid with his father's woman. Which was, something that people did to try to get rank and say, I got the first position spot. If my father dies or if my father loses his position for some reason, I'm the one that's going to take over next. This is the same thing that Absalom, that David's son did when he laid with David's concubines, asserting his leadership over his other brothers. All right, go ahead.
Then Simeon and Levi are comrades.
Simeon and Levi are brothers. Simeon is the Dominicans, and Levi is the Haitians. Go ahead.
Their weaponry is a stolen craft.
So instruments of cruelty in their habitation. Go ahead.
Into their conspiracy.
So instruments of cruelty in their, meaning what? Instruments of cruelty meaning they go into the spiritual world. Instruments of cruelty. They were cruel to each other. Levi got a special sport that only he does, where he trained with machetes. And then Simeon took machetes and was murdering Levites that lived in Dominican Republic. They murdered them. And then Levi put Simeon in captivity in a form of slavery when they liberated them from the Spanish. So they're just bickering, going back and forth, destroying and killing and murdering each other. And also, again, the instruments of cruelty that they use is that voodoo that they go into. To have evil spirits come and do things for them and sacrificing animals and sacrificing people's lives so that they can have this deed done against somebody. Okay? So go ahead. We start from 6 again.
Into their conspiracy may my soul not enter. With their congregation do not join.
So he said, look, I don't even want to be joined unto what they got going on. That's what our father Jacob said. Go ahead.
O my honor, for in their rage they murdered people, and at their whim they hamstrung an ox.
Hamstrung the ox. It says they dug down a wall, which means they used small things, all right, to conquer a big ox. So this big, strong, powerful ox is Shechem. And they were able to cunningly join forces and to destroy the whole town. What they say? Oh, you gotta get circumcised. And then once they got circumcised, they said, okay, now Simeon and Levi, now we're gonna go in and we're gonna kill all of the men. So experts at war. All right, experts at war, and this is a form of trickery and guerrilla warfare too. Psychological warfare. And you put the enemy in a position where you want him to be at, and then you pounced on him and killed him. This is the same thing that we see that the tribe of Levi did against the French. That's what they did against the French. They got him in a position, and they killed all of them. On that little island. Once they set their mind to do it, they did it. And once they joined forces with the Spanish, and once they joined forces with each other to get the Spanish off the island, they did it. And that's what we see right here. They came against a larger enemy. Just the two of them destroyed the whole city of Shechem. The Hamor and Shechem, that family. The whole village the whole kingdom got destroyed by those two brothers. So that you see that they can mount up against overwhelming military forces and be successful. So what happened is that the tribe of Levi and the tribe of Simeon and Haitian and Dominicans, they joined together and they conquered the Spanish Empire. They conquered the French Empire. In fact, they bankrupted them. They almost made the French lose all their money. That's why the French sold the land that they stole from Louisiana and Texas all the way up to Montana and the Dakotas or whatever. All of that they sold to the U.S. government. But they sold land that they stole from us. But that's the tribe of Levi. Levi can be dark skinned, he can be light skinned. Levi can have kinky hair, he can have straight hair. And we don't know what the people look like on them slave ships. We don't know what an African or look like in the year 1400, 1300. We don't know. We have assigned these monolithic characteristics. Oh, to be black, you got to have your nose got to be this wide, your lips got to be this. See, you all talk against stereotypes, but then you create a stereotype for yourself, and then it's okay. Levi can be light or dark. Simeon can be light or dark. Right, go ahead.
Accursed is their rage, for it is intense, and their wrath, for it is harsh.
Mm-hmm.
I will separate them within Jacob, and I will disperse them in Israel.
So the Most High say He's going to separate them in Jacob. Now, when you look at the tribe of Simeon, is of all the so-called Hispanic groups, Simeon is the one that usually lives among Judah in America. Not Puerto Ricans as much, not Cubans as much, not Brazilians as much, but Simeon, people from Dominican Republic usually live amongst and with the tribe of Judah in Florida, all right, in Florida and up in New York and New Jersey, usually living amongst each other. Meanwhile, the Levites usually live away. The Levites, the Haitians in Florida and in New York, all right, they in Jersey, they have their own little community. They don't mix with a whole bunch of other people because they're their own entity within itself. They don't deal with a bunch of West Indian parades and stuff. They don't deal with Black American issues or Caribbean Latino issues. They deal with Haitian issues. That's it. So that's part of the division that the Most High has let them have even to today. Now, when it said He's going to divide them in Jacob, we know all the tribes had their own territory, right? So what's that division talking about? The division it's talking about got to be an unusual division. Because when you look at the tribes of Israel, all of the tribes were divided into their own territory, right? What's unique about this division that the Most High did is because these people, all right, Simeon on the east of the island called Quisqueya, and Levi on the right, on the west of an island called Quisqueya, also Haiti, which means mountainous, Quisqueya means the mother of all lands. All right. They have a wall between them, which is called a border, a proverbial wall, but it's a land border where they literally despise and hate each other. Matter of fact, everybody remember a couple of years ago, when the Dominican Republic government said all Haitians got to get out of the country. We don't care if you got citizenship or not. We don't care if you were born here as a citizen or not. Get out. And they kicked them out. You see that? They kicked them out. So the Moses are going to divide them and scatter them. They're on the same island, but they say, okay, go back to your side of the island. But when you go to Martinique, when you go to Saint Martin and Saint Martin, they don't do that. They got an island they share, they cool with each other. When you go to other islands with different groups of people, they cool, they share the island. And then most of the other islands are people with one nation. But these ones said, we're not going to unite, we're going to stay divided. You see that? But they both are groups. Now, I'm talking about light-skinned Dominicans and light-skinned Haitians. Dark Dominicans and dark Haitians. All right? And a lot of these people that own this Negro only and Hispanic only, whatever, you never really lived amongst the tribes real deep. And if you lived among the tribes real deep of both so-called black and so-called indigenous, so-called Hispanic, you know that inside of those families, especially inside Dominican and Puerto Rican families, you got people, mothers, relatives, cousins, uncles of all different shades and textures of hair. So it's impossible for you to divide that family up. But because Judah has a very limited type of look in his families, he's easy to say, oh yeah, you don't look like me, so you an Israelite. But in the other tribes, we got people that look like everybody. All right, so the division the Most High calls is that island being divided. The island of Quisqueya, which Jerusalem is the mother of all lands. And Quisqueya means the mother of all lands. And the two tribes that was in Judah's territory prominently, which is Simeon, who was in the middle of, Simeon's territory was in the middle of Judah. And Judah's capital was Jerusalem for all Israel. In Judah's territory, Jerusalem. Okay? Okay? So now in Judah's territory, some of the temple was in Benjamin, and some of the temple was in Judah's territory. All right? So now, what's the point of making? The Levites were in charge of the temple and pretty much the security of Jerusalem. And then Simeon was in Judah's territory in the middle. So even in Judah's territory, the Most High divided them up. So on that island, Quisqueya, the Most High divided them up. Same way it was in ancient Israel. They were divided in the same territory, which is Judah's territory. And then they got dispersed throughout all the other tribes of Israel as the priests and as, sometimes as judges to serve the people. So that's how they're divided. And the name of the island speaks for itself. The scripture says there were mountains around Jerusalem. Okay? Haiti means mountainous. It's Haiti. It's an indigenous word. Haiti itself is an indigenous word. All right? It's an indigenous word. I believe it's a Taino word. It means mountainous. So the tribe that was focused in Jerusalem was Haiti. And Haiti was put on a place that they called mountainous, which is Haiti. And just like the mountains are around Jerusalem, the mountains are around Haiti. And then you got Dominican Republic on the east side, right? On the east side. And on the east side over here, you have the island was called Quisqueya, which means the mother of all lands. Which again, in Galatians 6:24 or 4:26, it tells us that Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. 4:26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So Quisqueya, mother of all lands. And that's what Dominican Republic, that's what Jerusalem is. And you had three tribes dealing with primarily with Jerusalem. And territorially, dealing with Judah's territory, I should say. Judah and then Simeon in the middle of that territory, and then Levi, which is in charge of the temple districts and what was going on around there. So Simeon is Dominican Republic, and then Haiti is Levi. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 8, Judah
You, your brothers, shall acknowledge it. Your hand shall be.
So it says, Judah, thou art he. Judah's the one that his brothers are going to praise. So Judah's name means Yahwadah, which means Yahweh be thanked. So Judah's name itself is a praise to Yahweh. What does that show us? That shows us that Judah is the one that invented the form of music that they call what? Gospel music. Judah invented gospel music. Gospel music is literally a music that praises Yahweh. So whoever invented this music, that's Judah's name. Yahweh be praised. Because when he was born, Leah said, Ahwadah Yahweh, I will praise Yahweh. And they call his name Yahwadah, which means Yahweh is praised. So Judah sang praises to Yahweh from old slave songs, asking Yahweh to show mercy upon them, to love them, to give them freedom, to stop letting their master beat them, to stop letting them have to work so long and a little bit of food, and having their women raped and the men being raped and the children being murdered and killed, and having your toes and feet and hands and fingers chopped off because you tried to run away because you don't want to work for free. You're getting beat by somebody every time you do something that they don't like. So that's the tribe of Judah. Judah, Yahwadah, he praises. You are the one that your brothers are going to praise, which means what? Judah is the one that everybody's going to have a reason to thank. Because the word praise here itself, read that in Hebrew. Verse 8, read in Hebrew real quick.
Yahwadah,
Yahwadah, which means Yahweh is praised. Go ahead.
Atha,
You, go ahead.
Yawadah, Wakka,
You, say it again.
Yawad Waka,
Yawad Wakah. You, they shall praise. They shall thank. Who?
Akika,
Your brothers. Or we can stop right there. Your brothers are going to thank, your brothers are going to praise you. Which means Judah going to be doing a lot to give everybody a reason to be thankful for what he's done for them. That's why people say, oh, Judah's over here. I don't know nobody over here that all of the tribes, and mainly, especially the other nations, got to be thankful to him about. Who? Besides the so-called black Americans. That's the tribe of Judah. Why? Because number one, they're the backbone of everything that people want to come to America for. They built up America during slavery, during the exploration. All right? During slavery, during the exploration. They brought master farmers, master craftsmen from Africa to build up America. They brought Israelites that knew what they were doing. They didn't just bring people, I'm going to just get a bunch of people and we're going to just make them slaves. America didn't happen by mistake. They deliberately said, we need people that are experts at growing rice. So they went to Africa and they got certain groups of people that could grow rice real good, and they brought them to the rice territories in where? In America, in the Carolinas. They got the people that said, you know what? We need slaves that can work, but they're also intelligent and that can help function and help form and help the government to stay together. Help the government to be, cohesive. And they brought them brothers where? To D.C. area. They brought them to D.C. area. You see that? So they knew exactly who they wanted. You think it's a mistake that Benjamin Banneker was from D.C.? Maryland area? The pool of workers in D.C. come from the Maryland and D.C. and Virginia, what they call DMV area. D.C., Maryland and Virginia area. When you cross the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, and then when you go into, Accokeek, or whether you in Silver Springs, or whether you, over in Clinton, all right? Going all the way down to Baltimore, now you're kind of outside that area, but Baltimore is still part of that aristocracy that was brought into America. See that? A lot of people don't understand that this was not something that just happened, by accident. They got slaves from a specific area to bring them into America to fulfill a specific purpose. And Judah is the one that they brought to certain areas to do certain kinds of work. All right, now let's look at it. Everybody's going to praise Judah, is what the prophecy said. Everybody's not praising the Zulu. Everybody's not praising the Bantu. Everybody's not praising the Igbo. Everybody's not praising the Ashanti. But all these countries have stoplights, which Judah invented. All these countries have refrigeration, which Judah invented. Air conditioning, Judah. Refrigerated trucks to transport your food cold from one place to another, Judah. All these places got got shoes. A machine that would take the shoe and sew it to the leather. Judah invented that. All right. All of these places have light bulbs. Of a light bulb that would last for a long time. Judah, Lewis Latimer, is the one that made that possible. Most of these countries try to have space programs. Judah did that. The spacesuit. Torpedoes, Judah did that. You like playing video games? You like Atari? Right? Back in the day, you had Atari. All right, yeah. Somebody see how we can fix that. See, we got a charge in the back. You had Atari. You had Atari. All right. You had Sega Genesis. Now you got Nintendo. All types of Nintendo, whatever. Judah invented that cartridge, and that cartridge is what led to what? Led to the whole Laserdisc and Blu-ray stuff, right? See that? So what else did Judah invent? So Judah invented all of these things.
The whole gaming industry
It's founded on Judah's
invention, from the humble Nintendo and Sega, and then it just more
Atari.
Atari.
That's
the first
yeah.
one. When you had, for those that can remember, you had a ball and a line on each side, and then you would hit the ball back and forth until you get it past the line on the opponent's side. That was the beginning of the gaming industry.
And Judah did that.
So all your name some games, Ariel Sean. Mario, okay, Pac-Man, Star Gaguses, some other games like who can forget was it with the thief? Come on, what is the name of that game? Grand Auto Theft.
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, okay, and all the different series that comes out with that. All right, name another game like that, you know. Sonic. All right.
Hedgehog. We'll take that.
Hedgehog. I mean, so the point I'm making is that all these games that people can't wait to go purchase
Pull that excess
when they
over.
come out.
Get up.
It all had its humble beginnings from a black man inventing the whole computer game system.
Right, with the cartridge and everything.
With the cartridges and everything.
Put it on it so people
Alright.
step on it.
And let's not forget what we're on right now. The internet.
Who did that? Break that down for me.
For my reading, it was a brother that was a Igbo. No, not Igbo, but what was that country that had that civil war that was killing all those people? Do you remember?
Rwanda?
Yeah.
Was it Tutsi or Hutu?
I think Tutsi. The one that was on the losing end.
that white chair.
He managed to escape, and then couple of years later, he invented the whole system of the internet. Okay, he's mentioned, but if you let Esau tell the story, it was somebody else.
So the whole networking and inter
Right, because remember, for those who don't remember, the whole internet was a way for computers to communicate on a military level. Okay, that's when the whole internet was invented for. But then later on,
fix this one
this network became expanded to include other computers, such as colleges, such as certain government agencies, and then it morphed itself down to the point that the common person could use the internet. And then those who can remember AOL, or was it AOL or AOI? okay, the free disc so you could get on the internet. Before your high speed and broadband expanded so you could watch a movie, it was basically data. Okay? So,
See how that works. So these are all things that Judah, that talks about in inventing. So when you say everybody gonna praise Judah, man, his brothers, but then outside of his brothers, the other nations praising Judah too. So it said Judah is gonna be the one that his brothers are gonna praise. All right, fix this one on the right side. You're right, but on my left. All right, go ahead. So Judah is going to be one that brother going to praise. So if you can go on the planet and find somebody that feels all of these things, okay, you can say now that's Judah. Now it's crooked. Just set it up straight. Now it's Judah. Now. So you can say, okay, this is Judah now, because they fulfilling what the Bible says Judah is going to be doing. You see, Judah is going to be one that everybody's praising, looking up to, whether they want to or not. All right? You don't got to like Malcolm X. You don't even got to like Martin Luther King Jr. You can say both of them were evil, false prophets, or whatever, but they were instrumental in paving the way for all the other ethnic groups to be able to walk around America a little more comfortably.
a little more
All right?
freedom.
You could not dare. You can say whatever you want to say about Martin Luther King or the Black Panthers or Malcolm X, but you would not dare get on no street corner in 1955 and call the white man the devil in downtown of his cities.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So when y'all talking about these brothers and you talking against them, it was the Most High that used these brothers to push Esau's mind in a different place away from wanting to murder you because you look at him. Or you looked at his woman like they did with Medgar Evers.
There was a...
So y'all brothers now, man, got almost like a different spirit on you, man, because all you want to do is argue with each other and talk about what the so-called white man is doing. But these brothers were taking action that was not harmful to people, but still taking action. They weren't trying to murder or kill people. Malcolm X was a great orator, but he really didn't do anything actively against the system. Martin Luther King was a great orator. He talked peace, but he was active against the system. So both of them have two different vibrations. You see that? Look at the Most High did that. Martin, get that book from her, please. Martin Luther King, what does Martin mean? Martin comes from Mars, the god of war, but he was peaceful, right? Malcolm comes from the Latin for what? For a dove. Dove means peace. But he was aggressive and hostile against what our enemies was doing against us. He wasn't pacifist. He didn't speak about pacifism. You see that? So that's the Most High setting that up. Two men with two different names. Two men with two different names, and they the opposite of their names. Malcolm means dove, and he was, militant. For physical, we're going to meet you with force. But his name meant dove. Then Martin Luther King Jr., his name meant war, but he was pacifist. We're not going to meet you with force. We're not gonna oppose you. Then you got who? Then before all of them, who did you have? Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Marcus dealing with war, and then Moses dealing with liberation, going where? Out of captivity into another land where we could be a little more free at. And that's what Marcus Garvey was advocating. But he wasn't a Judite, he was a Benjamite. But it was his program that really got the most traction on the ground, and it was his program that inspired people like Martin Luther King Jr. and people like Malcolm X. And he was inspired by Martin Delany, which was a former slave that wrote about what happened, saying we need to go to Nicaragua or to Mexico or to South America in order to become a little more independent and be safe. And then he said, also, we can go to Liberia and check out Liberia too. So they put all the options on the table. Then this is all Judah.
Also, Marcus Garvey was instrumental in influencing...
Mao Zedong.
Well, and the brother...
Ho
well,
Chi
not
Minh?
the brother, but Ho Chi Minh, yes. He sat in his class.
Yeah.
Picture that. He sat in the man's class and took the teachings from Marcus Garvey and went back and started the Vietnam Revolution.
And that's why the so-called white man is so afraid of Judah in America. Because Marcus Garvey didn't have the platform to do what he did in Jamaica.
No.
The platform was in America. What he had to go to get his thing off the ground, he had to go to New York City, the capital of so-called Black America at that time, Harlem. He had to go to Harlem. He had to go to 125th Street. All right, start at Liberty Hall. All right, and which was also had a lot of Israelites in his organization.
Right.
So Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah, Ho Chi Minh.
Ho Chi Minh started at Marcus Garvey. He was taught by Marcus Garvey. And then when you look at Kwame Nkrumah, right?
Yeah.
He took, and Jomo Kenyatta, they all took teachings from Marcus Garvey and put them into what they needed to do for their people in their countries. You see that? But these things was cultivated in in Judah's atmosphere.
Right. His environment.
Not in Jamaica, but in Judah's environment. You see that? So Judah is the one which is so-called Black American. Now we just ran through all the things the so-called Black Americans did. Whether they light skin or whether they dark skin, kinky hair or straight hair, Judah is the so-called Black Americans. Now if you got other people in other places, I'm not comfortable calling them Judah unless they fit what the description of Judah is. See, the Bible tells us what Judah is going to do. All right, go ahead.
Your hand will be at your enemy's nape.
Your hand's gonna be at your enemy's neck, man. You're gonna be able to. You're gonna be. It was like for war, but Judah ended up what? Remember in the movie The Color Purple when she was shaving and she wanted to cut his throat, but she didn't. Judah is literally grooming and taking care of the children. Judah was always in a position to change the course of history because he was serving Martin Luther. He was serving George Washington. He was a servant unto Thomas Jefferson. He was a servant unto Andrew Jackson. Judah was always a servant unto all the most powerful men on the planet Earth at that time, but he didn't do nothing to attack them. He didn't do nothing to destroy his enemies. That's why I say his hand should be in the neck of his enemy. But he didn't do nothing. All right? Go ahead.
Your father's sons will prostrate themselves to you.
All the children of Judah, the children of Jacob are going to bow down to Judah. They're going to prostrate. I mean, they're going to give Judah praise and credit. That's why everybody's trying to do rap. Everybody's trying to do R&B. Everybody's trying to dress like Judah. Everybody's trying to talk and act like Judah. Everybody's trying to be like Judah, but nobody want to go through Judah's experience. See, now slavery is over. Everybody coming forth saying they Judah. But all these people that was free when Judah was still in slavery, wasn't having no type of consolidation to be Judah where they were. See, now remember, now you can't always say that Judah, because people sold slavery, that they're not Judah either. Because Judah wanted to sell Joseph into slavery. Okay? That means that you probably had groups of Judah in West Africa, down by Angola, down by Congo, trying to sell with the Belgium, with the British, with the Portuguese, trying to sell families of Asher that were in Angola. You see, that's how it worked. Because that's who was over in Angola. Was now Angola, and part of Congo was the tribe of Asher was down there. And that's who got brought right across the water, short trip, into Brazil as slaves, into Colombia, okay, into Venezuela as slaves, was the tribe of Asher. You see? So these are things we all have to really realize, that Judah has a specific characteristic. Judah is the one up front. And he is the one that everybody's looking to. All right? He's the one everybody's looking up to. Everybody's praising. In America, when the tribes, come from America, they don't look to these. They got some stuff that they do amongst themselves, but a lot of it is Judah. All right. Every subculture in America of the other tribes consists of some type of R&B or some type of hip hop, some type of breaking, some type of b-boyism, breakbeatism, and that's Judah. Now Judah and Ephraim was instrumental in that.
Come.
You can't take that away from Ephraim.
Nah, Ephraim.
Ephraim might have been a pioneer of b-boying, man. I mean, low key.
Breakdancing. Well, they were up there. They were definitely there.
Yeah, Ephraim and Judah, but I mean, I don't know. I say, you know, Turbo was what?
Ephraim, right?
And who was you at Turbo?
Scrap.
Crazy Legs was what?
Crazy Legs, Ephraim.
I mean, I can't even really think of no real.
Scrap.
I'm a younger generation too, but
Yeah, but
you know, I remember Crazy Legs and Turbo though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What was the name? What was the movie? What was the movie? Breaking?
Uh-huh.
All right, so you gotta look at Breaking to see the original pioneers of b-boying.
You know.
Shoot, I can remember when b-boying was so popular that they could travel around and get concerts and you know, just break out the pads and start breakdancing.
Mm-hmm.
The breakdancing contest, which was really an amalgamation of not fighting, but we're gonna breakdance to settle our beef with each other. Go ahead.
All right, so it say that all of Jacob's children are bow down to Judah. All right, go ahead, keep going.
A lion cub is Judah.
Judah is a lion's whelp, a lion's cub. So that he's still, you know, wild, ferocious, and got to learn how to get that tame spirit of war. But he's going to try to lash out on you, but it might get pushed down. You see that? So that's Judah. That's the spirit of Judah. That's what's happening in America. They would run, try to fight against the so-called white man, but always got pushed down. Little lion's whelp, young lion. Go ahead.
From the prey, my son, you elevated yourself.
So he had the prey, but then he lift up from the prey. Go ahead.
He crouches, lies down like a lion.
So now Judah is lying down like a lion. Go ahead.
And like an awesome lion, who dares rouse him?
So who's going to rouse him up? Who's going to rouse Judah up now? It's probably going to be Levi or Gad, because that's Levi and Gad were the ones that were instrumental in the wars in the Americas, the most prolific wars. So Judah is that lion that's crouching down now. Who's going to rouse him up? He's waiting to pounce, but who's going to cause that pouncing to start? Go ahead.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah,
So the scepter, the leadership, the rulership will not depart from Judah. Go ahead.
nor a scholar from among his descendants,
Uh-huh.
until Shiloh shall arrive,
Until Shiloh arrived. Go ahead.
and his will be an assemblage of nations.
So until Shiloh comes, Judah was going to have the power. So since we know that Judah doesn't have the power no more, the scepter is not in Judah's hand anymore, because Judah came into the Americans in slavery, and everybody's under colonial powers right now, we know that Shiloh has come, which represents the Messiah. So we know Messiah has come. Why? Because Judah ain't in power no more. That's how we know the Messiah has come, by this prophecy right here. All right, and Judah is the main one that was pushing the Messiah, and Judah's the main one that got fed a false Messiah during slavery, and then took that and taught it to the other Israelites. Judah's the one that really pushed the whole Pentecostal movement forward, and from there it got pushed into Mexico and in Puerto Rico and all of that. All right, Judah started that. All right, you had Partham and one of the other guys, and I can't think of his name, but at the Azusa Street Mission was a Partham, and I can't think of the other guy's name. Begins with a B. All right, the Azusa Street Mission. So Judah started that. All right, go ahead.
He will tie his donkey to the vine.
Now let's get into Yahushua. Go ahead.
To the vine branch his donkey's full.
Uh-huh.
He will launder his garments in wine.
Meaning he's going to be involved in a lot of bloodshed, a lot of war, a lot of killing. Go ahead.
And his robe in the blood of grapes.
Also getting into Yahushua. Judah and getting into Yahushua, which is the epitome of Judah. Go ahead.
Red eye from wine.
So Judah's going to have red eyes from the wine. Go ahead.
And white tooth from milk.
And teeth are going to be white from milk. All right. So these are characteristics that Judah has. But he's going to be dealing with a lot of wine and dealing with a lot of, milk and stuff too. All right. So when you look in America and you look at the West, it was Judah that was the cowboys. We're not talking about the gauchos down in Brazil and Argentina. Judah was the cowboys that was dealing with what? That were dealing with the milk that comes from the cows. Judah was dealing with that. He was the cowboys. How is teeth gonna get white with milk if he ain't dealing with cows? If he ain't dealing with milk? So Judah was dealing with the milk. Now the milk sometimes came from the goat and the milk came from the cows when you read the scriptures. So Judah's dealing with the milk. So he's dealing with the cows. So Judah was the cowboys. Cowboys. 40-year-old man, you call him a cowboy? You think that's a white man? In the early 1800s, you're going to call him a boy? 1850, you're going to call a 46-year-old man a boy? They called them boys because they was black men. They called white men men. Black men and Indians was called boy. So the cowboys were Israelite men that they disrespected. You think the cowboys were 7 and 8 years old? The cowboys was 20, 30, 40-year-old men that had experience handling cattle.
You heard the cattle.
From thousands, hundreds of miles.
Right.
You see? So Judah is the one that's
Across
dealing with
state
that.
lines. Multiple state lines. So yeah.
Kind of territories.
Right.
Before they had states.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So Judah did that. You see that? So that's why the black Americans are the tribe of Judah.
Sidebar, the original Lone Ranger was a black man.
Kind of. What's his name?
Um,
I'm going to check the percentage on that.
it's,
They got a movie about him now, though.
oh,
They got a movie about him. Yeah, they got
It's
a
out?
movie. Kind
okay. Gotta look at that.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go. Let's keep these tribes going. So Judah is the black American. Now, if you find these people in Africa, in Asia, I don't care where you find them. If they fit the description of Judah, they are Judah. But the bulk of the prophecies about Judah were fulfilled in North America. You understand? So we're dealing with Judah. And you got to stop being prejudiced. Oh, he from Africa, he can't be Judah. Or he from Afghanistan, he can't be Judah. How in one breath you going to say the Most High scattered us into 4 corners of the earth? And then when you got a brother from Timbuktu, oh, he can't be Israel because he from Timbuktu. Ain't that part of the 4 corners of the earth? Ain't that part of one? From Deuteronomy 28:6-8, and the Lord shall scatter thee from one end of the earth unto the other. That means one end to the other and all points in between. So in Afghanistan, there's Israelites. In Pakistan, there's Israelites. In India, there's Israelites. And when I was in India, I seen all these guys from like Nepal and Bangladesh, yo, they look just like they just walked off the set of Apocalypto.
Huh.
Them brothers ain't look nothing like no Moab or no Elam. They look like straight up Israelites, man. Straight up and down. That's why the scripture say he that travel is wise, man, because now you get to see things for your own eyes. Now you see, man, like, man, this dude look white, but, man, his grandfather was a slave, so shalom,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So now the scripture says that, now, here goes the good part with Zebulun. Go ahead.
Zebulun shall settle by seashores.
Zebulun shall settle by seashores. Now, who is Zebulun? Zebulun are the people from the Yucatan Peninsula, from southern Veracruz, and eastern Oaxaca, all the way down to Panama. The seashores. What do you have over there in the middle? You got Costa Rica. Seashores dealing with water, right? So Belize, they say Belize meant muddy waters. On a flag, all these countries' flags and coat of arms, they have water, or they have ships, or they have the steering wheel for the ship. On all their flags or coat of arms, they got either water or a ship. Okay, so now Belize, the indigenous people in Belize, Zebulun, they brought Benjamin there in slavery. The ones that they called it, who the locals call Spanish, and who the locals call the Mayan, those are the tribe of Zebulun. Okay, now when you leave from Zebulun, when you leave from Belize, you come to Guatemala or Guatemala. Now in Guatemala you have a lake called Izabal, Lago de Izabal. Izabal. What is the root word of Zebulun? Zabal. So that's where you know Zebulun is there. So that's why when I hear these people talk about, Negro only, Hispanic only, you haven't done studies of the Torah on the tribes and then look on the world map. I mean, I'm looking at oceans. I'm looking at rivers. I'm looking at lakes. I'm looking at local languages and dialects, which hopefully we get to that part right here. Yeah, we might get to it right here. The Tepex that everybody uses. The Tepex, the mountain that they use in Mayan and in different Aztec languages means mountain. That's why the Most said they should bring the people to the mountains, because mountain is a part of their vocabulary, what they put in their names in Mexico. It got which that's a whole different tribe we're dealing with. But let's get back to Zebulon. Zebulon should dwell by the coast of the sea. So Panama, they got the Panama Canal, the most famous sea crossing in the world, right? You go.
Israelites died.
And Israelites died putting that together. A lot of Benjamites, right?
Right.
Putting that together. So when you go from Panama, you go to where? Costa Rica, which means a rich coast. Just like the scriptures say, a coast by the water. And you go from, and then when you go from Costa Rica, where you get to now? Nicaragua. Nicaragua. Nicara's water has the largest lake, Lago de Nicaragua. You see that? Water again. Water, water, like the prophecy says in the Hebrew. You leave Nicaragua, where you go to next? North. One of the big places where you got a lot of Garifuna. Big place. La Ceiba. La Ceiba. All right, the capital of this country is Tegucigalpa. Huh? Who got it? Tegucigalpa. Honduras.
Oh, Honduras.
Honduras, which means what? Honduras means deep. Deep what? Deep waters. Profound. Hondo, hondo, hondo. Que me tienen hondo, 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 hondo. Little E for my song. But yeah, so Honduras means deep waters. Honduras. And then from Honduras, you go just west a little bit, you go to what? El Salvador. And who is the water of life besides Yahushua? El Salvador. The water of life. The Savior. Yahushua. Right? El Salvador. And then when you go from there, now you get to Guatemala again. Then from Guatemala, now you go to Chiapas. Beautiful water, cascades, cascadas, how do you call it? Cascadas, waterfalls.
Okay.
Waterfalls, streams, and creeks and all of that over in Chiapas. You see that? In Chiapas, man. You see that? In Chiapas, that's Zebulon's territory. And everybody knows about the beautiful waters in Yucatan. All right? In what they call it, Cancun, Isla de Mujeres, Chetumal, all of that's Zebulon's territory. They had wars down there when Issachar was pushing into Zebulon's territory, and they ran into Belize. They ran south into Belize for protection. It was called the Caste Wars, but that's Zebulon's territory. All right, Emilio de los Santos, my brother over in Cancun, got a whole different look than the Central Mexicans have. And when you're talking about Tabasco, the Tabasco sauce, that's Issachar's, that's Zebulon's also, Zebulon's state. Campeche, that's Zebulon. Mayan. We traveled through these places. We've been to these places. We talked to the people. We've seen the monuments. We've seen the history. Banyawada and I, we went into Cancun and we walked among and we talked to the people. And we saw the archaeology that they have. And we heard the stories that they tell about their origins. I've driven through that place several times. To Cancun, to the airport from Belize. You understand? To Cancun, to the airport from Belize. Traveling through there. All right? Me and the brother went there. Okay? And drove back there, landed from America and landed in Cancun and then drove back down into Belize. A few times. So when we talk about these different tribes and places, we ain't talking about only what we read in the book, which is good, but we're talking about what we actually experienced and saw with our own eyes. And through talking to the people that are there. This was all before memes were popular. Where you had to actually talk to people and travel and actually do some research. Thorough research.
Mano y mano.
Yeah, mano y mano. Hand in hand, face to face, man to man. So it says Zebulon shall dwell at the haven of ships. In Genesis 49:13. Go ahead.
He shall be at the ship's harbor.
He shall be at the ship's harbor. That's straight up going into what? Into Panama. What more famous harbor for ships is there in the world besides Panama? U.S. population is about 6% of the world, but the U.S. uses 30% of everything that the world produces. And then on top of that, 50% of everything that passes through the Panama Canal coming from Asia or South Central America or North America through the Panama Canal, 50% of everything on them ships goes to America. America is the biggest consumer country on the planet Earth. And all that stuff comes through what? The haven of ships comes from Panama. 50% of that stuff off them ships of Panama comes from America. So out of everything a country produces, 30% of it is going to America. You see that? 30% of it. So when it says that he should be a haven of ships. Now, again, on all of their flags, check it out. Look up the flags and the coat of arms for Belize, for El Salvador, for Guatemala, for Honduras, for Nicaragua, for Costa Rica, and for Panama. And you'll see either symbols of water on the side, or you'll see an actual ship, or you'll see like a steering, the rudder guide for the boat on all their flags or coat of arms. Look it up. And so every one of them is immediately associated with the waters. And even when you go into Cancun, their flag is waters and ships. You see what I'm saying? So that's how we know that these people in Central America are the tribe of Zebulon, because they fit the prophecy of Zebulon. Matter of fact, the Mayans had one of the most intricate travel systems in the rivers than anybody else. They would literally travel in the waters more than they traveled on land. They didn't like to travel on land. They like to travel on the waters. And they like to live near the coast, near the ships. Even in Belize to this day, they have the race from the rivers that passes through Belmont, that passes through Cayo, San Ignacio. They have that big boat race every year. Some people use the local dugout canoes or dories. That's the word that my brother Jay Yaikwa taught me in Belize. The dories. They have that little dories that they made. Some of them use the hand carved canoes.
That's
You see that?
tree trunks.
But that's Zebulon culture. That ain't British culture. That's what Zebulon was doing. They had the big river race like every year. Zebulon loved to deal with the waters. And Zebulon loved to deal with the waters. So Zebulon is the people in the Central American countries. I presented just an iceberg of evidence to show that fact. We're not even going into their history. Too tough. Right? Costa Rica means what? Rich coast. The Bible says coast. Coast of waters. You got the Lago there. You got Nicaragua, which has the word water in it. The Bible says waters. You got Belize that people say mean muddy waters. The Bible is showing exactly what the Bible is saying. Yeah, Panama that has the Panama Canal. They cut through the dirt so they can make a coastline to go through the water. Like the Bible said, water. Okay? So it's all right there. It's all right if you want to see it. Now, you find me somebody else on the planet Earth that fits this way. Haven for ships, a coast for ships, right? And then a bunch of water. And then you got symbols of water and ships on their flags and coat of arms. Go ahead.
And his last border shall reach Zion.
His last border shall reach to Zion. What does that mean? That means that Zion, remember Zion was the biggest what? Importer and consumer in the ancient world. Which is equivalent to who today? We just said it. America. So who controls Zion? Who controls Central America? Who controls the Panama Canal? America. That's how Zebulon's border shall reach unto Zion. Because everything that comes through Zion represents America as the main consumer, the main port of the ancient world.
Good video to watch is Panama Deception.
Yeah, look at Panama Deception.
And basically what happened, you had Noriega, who was basically working with the CIA.
Which was from the tribe of Zebulon.
From the tribe of Zebulon, who was working with the CIA as a front man
For dope.
for dope, cocaine, and to control of the Panama Canal. He decided that at the end of the treaty, he was
The
not
99-year lease.
the 99-year lease. He was not going to lease it again back to America. Well, presto changeo, America labels him a drug baron and then arrested him and then invaded Panama to gain control of the Panama Canal.
And then the
Killed
next
him.
president
Went along with the program.
said, okay, yeah, we'll renew the lease. So that's what happened with Panama.
Okay.
You look at another movie, Mosquito Coast.
Okay.
That's a good movie to look at too. To show you how the interior of Central America was back in the day. So yeah, so Noriega, he had some issues, but they did him wrong when he tried to say, "No, I don't want to really rock with y'all no more." All right, go ahead.
Issachar is a strong bone donkey.
So Issachar is a strong bone donkey. Okay, how do you say donkey in Spanish? Burro. All right. What country on the planet Earth do you eat a small donkey? Mexico. Know what it's called? It's called a burrito,
Okay.
which means a small donkey. Small, because everybody know a donkey is small and powerful and strong. And Mexico is the only place on the planet Earth where you got a food that they call a small donkey. Yeah, let me get a small donkey. Burrito. You call it a burrito in English, burrito. But it's like a burrito. Burrito it has two R's, B-U-R-R-O, burro, and then B-U-R-R-I-T-O for burrito, or burrito. It means a small donkey. So here the Bible says that Issachar is a strong donkey. A donkey is small, but then he's strong. Issachar. And they have wild donkeys all over Mexico, man. They have wild donkeys all over Mexico. Okay? So now, Issachar, the Mexicans are eating. We all eating burritos, which is named as a strong donkey. Put all your little stuff inside there, and then you got, bam, the burrito. All right? So it's just a little thing. That's a little thing, but who else is doing it on that level? So it's called a strong donkey, strong ass. Go ahead.
He rests between the boundaries. He saw
Now
tranquility.
let me say this real quick. This word that they use in the Hebrew means a place where there are. Can you look it up in the Hebrew real quick? Between two burdens. That word burden there means a place where sheep are gathered together, like a sheep holding area. In other words, so when you go into South America, you have Brazil, big strong country with a lot of Israelites down there. And you leave there, you come into America, big strong country with a lot of Israelites up there. And who do you have in between both places? Huh? Mexico. That everybody's trying to get to El Norte, pasando por Mexico. Everybody's trying, or you can't go to Colombia, or you go to Mexico. That's a Spanish-speaking culture country down there. It's that strong donkey, economically, between North America and South America. That's what it's talking about. Because the Hebrew word there, again, is a word that means sheepfold. You got it?
Getting to there now.
Chapter 49, verse 14.
I'm getting there.
Don't you got the app?
Yeah, it's moving slow.
The app or the online? Which one is?
Well, I'm at the app now. I'm hitting Genesis. Okay, Genesis 49. What verse? What verse?
I think it's Mashapatium. Mashapatium. Let me see. Mashapatium. Actually, the word they have is mispatalim, two burdens. But now to click on the word itself, between two burdens, two sheepfolds, and the word is used in the Bible, in Genesis, Deuteronomy 5:16 also, for sheepfolds, which is a place where you keep the animals. Okay? So he's between two heavy burdens, and that's why a lot of times, so the place between two burdens, so North America and South America. All right? That's Issachar. So this is geographic now. This is geographic, and everybody tries to go from South America, pass through Mexico, and they stay there for a little while to try to get into North America. I met a brother in Mexico that came up through Mexico from Argentina,
Man.
and then got over into the U.S. and then got kicked out, and he just stayed in Mexico. You see, but you have to go to the border towns and stay a while there to hear and understand these stories that everybody's passing through Mexico. But you got to be part of that world with the suecas and the micas para el ID, para la ID, para empleados, for employees, and to get the fake, remember Mauro on them, right? Back in the day, little Mauro, yeah. They come to the crib and stuff, chill with us sometime, him and his brothers.
Work at the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, kind, yeah.
Living at that one house next to the restaurant.
Con. So yeah, Mauro and them, so they was from down there,
Man, you went back with that one.
Issachar. So we've actually had, a lot of you brothers that have hatred in your heart against so-called Latinos and against so-called black people. You never had no relationships with these brothers and sisters, man. So you hate them just to kind of push yourself forward or to propel to propel a lie forward, which ain't who our people really are. Our people are Hispanic, Native American, Latino, and so-called Negro black. All right, but we all one nation, man. Get over that. Get over it. Everybody don't gotta look like you to be a tribe of Israel, man. Who are you? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
He saw tranquility, that it was good.
He saw tranquility, that it was good. He saw rest, that it was good. So Issachar was traveling. What's the story? He was traveling. This is the story of Mexico. This is in their culture, their mythology. And it's partial truth to it. They were traveling until they found a place where it's going to be an eagle on top of a cactus with a serpent in his hand. And that's where they were going to stop at. So that's when they said, we're going to rest right here. We're going to rest right here. So this rest is good. Okay, and that's how they got down into Mexico. Go ahead.
And the land that it was pleasant.
The land was a pleasant land. Okay, it's a pleasant land, man. I mean, there's places in Mexico, man, where you don't even have to water your crops. There's aquifers underneath, and the mist from the aquifers penetrate through the ground, and that causes the stuff to grow. One of the places like near, not too far from Ometepec. Not too far from Ometepec, like in the Guerrero and Oaxaca area. Like there's a sister I was talking to about that from down there. I'm gonna contact her to get some more information about it. All right, so it said that he saw the land, that it was pleasant. And don't Issachar always make sure that the land is looking pleasant?
Landscape.
Issachar is a natural when it comes to horticulture. Horticulture and agriculture, Issachar can do anything. Issachar can grow food from you in the daggone straw. All right? Garden set up, landscaping set up. Remember the brother, when we was down there, the brother had, when we first got down to Mexico, the brother had, in the desert area, the brother had his little garden right there, remember? Had a tomato plant. Had some, remember? When you leave the street, right before you get to the, was it before or after the little sliding board over there? It was before the sliding board. It was like the next privada over.
Okay.
Right, the next privada over. Remember? On the right hand side, when you leave the privada, you go up, and he had the little garden. He had like a little tomato, remember?
Yeah.
And he would be out there watering it sometime.
Yeah, pass it every morning.
Yeah, so they in the desert, brother, so now I'm going to grow something. So Issachar is saying that Issachar is associated with land and pleasant land. All right. Also resting. You can say it's going into the siestas, but everybody has the everybody has the siestas though. You know what I'm saying? But it's dealing with just the tranquil, you know. And why do Issachar? Let's break it down like this too. Issachar means what? He is hired. Yeshashakar. So that's why Issachar feel like the rest is pleasant, because it's in the nature of Issachar to always want to be productive and producing and doing something. It could be in the agriculture field. It could be, in a computer field. It could be in a factory. Okay. It could be in engineering. It could be in architecture. Whatever Issachar put himself to, he's gonna make himself tired from doing that work. All right. Most of us been around Issachar all of our lives. All right. And he was around Issachar for almost half of his life. Before he could talk.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? Before he could talk good. You know what I'm saying? He was talking with Issachar.
He was immersed in Espanol.
Yeah, so what we see, man, is that we gotta get this other one charged in, get that plugged in, get a cord for that real quick. Go to the back of the cord, get that back on the YouTube, John. We're gonna need a base for it. Get the bass and the blue bass, the blue cord. So they got all these things mixed up together, man, but Issachar is in Mexico. All right, we're going to see something else that shows that. Go ahead, verse 15. The rest.
Yeah, he bent his shoulder to bear.
He bowed his shoulder to bear. Yeshashakar, meaning Issachar is a worker. It's just, ain't no stereotype, it's the truth.
Yeah.
Issachar ain't doing nothing. Issachar is doing jobs that the white man can't do and that the so-called white man don't want to do.
Right. Laying those bricks, pouring those blocks.
And Issachar country, man, Issachar country is, it's a pretty beautiful country, man. They take pride in their little stuff they got, man. It's clean.
Yeah.
They clean. They got the sign up to say that they say that the common area is your living room, so keep cleaning. And once again, we're leaving up to the other area. They got the sign up there, remember? Mm-hmm. Saying, yo, keep this place clean. And it wasn't real. They got the little dump area at the bottom over there.
Yeah.
But that's an allocated area. It wasn't just trash all over the place, blowing all the time.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? They kept it pretty clean, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's Issachar. So it say that what? It say that he bowed his shoulder to work, to bear, to carry. All right, go ahead.
And he became an indentured laborer.
He became a servant unto tribute, an indentured laborer. All right. So Issachar became a hard worker, all right, working with the Spanish. So now showing you how they're going to be in a different form of bondage. The slavery that was used in Mexico was different. It was called encomienda. And that was, you know what? I'm going to take your land. I'm going to steal your land. I'm going to take your land. But, you know what? You need to learn Spanish. And to learn Spanish, you know what? I'm going to teach you Spanish. But in order for me to teach you Spanish, I want you to work on this land that I just took from you for free. How about this? That's a good deal? I said it's a good deal.
Best deal
Release the arrow. That's what they did. They had a different form of slavery. So a lot of Mexicans are under the impression that they wasn't in slavery because there was a whole different name. It's called encomienda. El sistema encomienda. And that's what they used throughout the whole Mexico, Central, South America. Encomienda system. They used straight up slavery system, once everything got developed and off the ground. They called it by a different name later on.
Beautiful.
You see that? Hold on, give me a second.
Got a book somewhere.
Might have just, because it's already off, so you probably just flip it now. Flip it and then get the power coming on to it again. I guess you're gonna have to. Yeah, that's enough. It must be D-Ed.
Not working.
What's your percentage looking like?
77.
Can you wait for this to charge up and use this, or we can? This one too. Hello, what was we on? What were we on? This one is this is Facebook right here, right?
Okay.
And this one was YouTube. Am I registered on your network on YouTube, man? Let's see. All right, so let's continue with that. What did it say again? Last part you were reading.
Yeah, he bent his shoulder to bear.
So Issachar, he bent his shoulder to bear. So Issachar really put that work in, and that's what Issachar is the tribe known for working. Ain't no other tribe known for working like Issachar works, man. There's no other tribe known for working like Issachar works. Okay. There's no other tribe known for working like Issachar works. Let me just get the other phone. All right, what's the next part say?
And he became an indentured laborer.
Let me see. So indentured labor, so Issachar is in a whole different type of slavery. All right, a servant to tribute. So Issachar had to work and had to give tribute to the Spaniards that were over Mexico. And a lot of y'all are thinking that you had a bunch of white people came to Mexico, had babies with the women, and that became the ruling class. Now that was like maybe a one or two with the women, but you act like every single Issacharite woman was only having sex with Mexican men. I mean, with Spaniard men, and all the Issacharite men just disappeared because they got light skin now. Come on, man. All right. Well, whoever fulfilled the prophecy, that's what we call the Issachar. All right. What's the next part say?
Dan will avenge his people.
Hold on 1 second. Read that whole verse.
Dan will avenge his people. The tribes of Israel will be united as one. Dan will be a serpent on the highway, a viper by the path, that bites a horse's heel so its riders fall backwards.
So that was the tribe of Dan, but that goes into certain rivers and territories that took the shape of serpents. Okay, start that again.
Dan will avenge his people.
So the Danites were the merchant navies that were traveling abroad, trading with other countries and other territories. And that's how Dan would travel around as the merchant navy involved in commerce and trade.
Facebook. Oh, but you got the issue with your. Oh, it's gonna be fixed in front of you.
Oh, I mean, might interject. I mean, I had to restart it again. Start it again.
Dan will avenge his people. The tribes of Yashar'Allah will be united as one.
So it says Dan shall judge his people as one tribe.
Avenge.
Judge, which is Dayan. So Dan is gonna, even though they different, why would he judge his people as one people? Because people gonna look at him and say that they different people. That's why they say, nah, we judging ourselves as one people, red Caribs, black Caribs, we all the same nation. That's what Dan is saying. Can you get on YouTube? I mean on Facebook, please. Well, just take time to organize your folders, man. Got sign out there, sign back in. So it said he shall judge the people as one people, and then it says what? As one of the tribes of Israel. So in Judges 5:17, we deal with the boats and stuff that Dan was in. All right. So, but there was some in the south and some in the north. Remember that?
Huh.
Dan was in the south in his territory. Then some of them left the south and went up to the north. They went up to the north. It was by Lachish, right?
Mhm.
Lachish and then from Bashan. Well, that's a whole different book. But Dan shall leap from Bashan, which is the fertile territories of northern Israel. He leaped from there and went into the into the sea.
Involved trading and travel, commerce.
Kind. And the spices, the Dan is a whole deep, because it tell you that Dan was trading in spices in the ancient world.
Kind.
And then when you come into the new world, Grenada was called Spice Island because Dan was growing spices there to trade and deal with the other tribes. It was called Spice Island. So many spices was growing, it was called Spice Island.
Right, nutmeg and cinnamon and
The whole island
turmeric. Right, the whole island is spices.
smelled like a kitchen. Okay, Mario. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go. Keep reading 17.
Dan will be a serpent on the highway.
So Dan is going to be a serpent in the way. That's the configuration of the islands from Trinidad, okay, all the way down into going into the Bahamas. All right, Trinidad all the way up to Dominica, to the Virgin Islands, then going into the Bermuda, Bahamas makes a snake shape. Because in the middle you got the island Abaco in the Bahamas Islands, and then you have the island Andros, which means man. But then you have also Snake's Key, which means snake.
Right.
And then in Trinidad, you have Serpent's Bay and Dragon's Mouth in Trinidad, which is where Dan's island begins. And then on Dominica, not Dominican Republic, but Dominica, Rousseau as the capital, you have Tetien. You have a snake formation of lava that comes from the water that they say is an ancient god that they used to worship that lives in a cave somewhere now. So you have snake stories all throughout that whole area. All right, and then you go over into the Bahamas now, you got what? Snake Island.
Kind.
So the Most High had, and then you have Anguilla, which means arrow-shaped sea serpent. And in the native tongue, it was Malawo'uhana, which means arrow-shaped sea serpent. So all these islands have names that were put on them about snakes. Just like the Bible said, Dan will be a serpent by the way. Go ahead.
A viper by the path.
A viper in the path. The difference between the viper, right? The difference between the viper is that the viper is the different from the other snakes because it has horns on its head. In the path. So at the middle, when they break off from the bigger islands to the smaller islands, that's where you have Anguilla, which is Malohana. Or I forget how to say the name exactly, but look up Anguilla, Anguilla, and look at the indigenous name. I believe it was Malu'o'uhana. All right, and that was the name, and it means arrow-shaped sea serpent. That's what the name means. Okay, that's what the name means. So it's in the way, meaning it's in the way. It's not at the bottom, not at the top, but it's in the way. All right, now, because the mouth is down by Trinidad. How do we know that? Because that's what they call it. It's called Serpent's Mouth and Dragon's Bay, or vice versa. At the bottom right there. And that's the biggest island of the groups of islands, Trinidad down there. All right, you see what I'm saying? So it's right there on the map. You look at the map. So that's how we know that Dan is the indigenous peoples on those islands, which includes the Garifuna or the Garifuna. All right. Let's okay, Amaria. And set this up here, bottom. got a high percent, so we should be good with time and stuff on it. Yeah, go ahead, Jay. Now that's gonna have to be a little higher, it looks like, man. Or bring it forward some. Okay, that's cool. Make it straight, it's crooked now. Slide it out. That's cool. Okay, so, dealing with the tribe of Dan, from Genesis 49:16, dealing with the tribe of Dan. Judges people as one tribe. They got two different tribes of Dan, two different families, red Caribs and black Caribs. The red Caribs are a little lighter, brown Caribs are darker with different texture of hair, but they still consider themselves to be one people. Verse 17, he's a serpent by the way. That's going into the head of the serpent, being down by Trinidad, where you got Serpent's Bay and Dragon's Mouth, or Dragon's Bay and Serpent's Mouth, or Serpent's Bay, I forget which one is which. And then you go up, he's a serpent, he's an adder in the path, which is a serpent that has horns. So they called the island of Anguilla, Maluo Uhana, which means arrow-shaped sea serpent. And when Gentiles got there, they named the place Anguilla, which means sea serpent. And then when you leave there, at the end of it, you reach Bahamas, and you have Snake's Key. And on Snake's Key, you also have another island, which is called the Dust, Abacos, which is the place where the serpent crawls at. You see that? This place where the serpent crawls at is called the Dust. All right. So when he leaves that trail. So you can see the trail coming from Bahamas, and then going down to Virgin Islands, then going down to Anguilla, Dominica, and then going down to Trinidad where the mouth is at, the mouth of the serpent. So this is all geography. All right, go ahead.
Bites a horse's heels, so its rider falls backwards.
So Ezekiel 27:19 talks about that. So he's going to be able to go out into these waters and attack these ships, attack these invaders, and have a degree of success. All right. Go ahead.
For your salvation do I long, O Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
God will recruit a regiment and will retreat on its heel.
So Gad is going to have Ezekiel 27:19 real quick. Ezekiel 27:19. Dan and Javan going to and fro, occupied in the fairs. That means there's always selling stuff. They bright iron, okay, Acacia, Calamus were in thy markets. So Acacia and Calamus is two very good and beautiful smelling herbs that they had. Acacia is a tree, Calamus is a real nice herb. Okay, it's a beautiful herb plant, a lot of medicinal qualities, and acacia also, that's the wood that we use for the temple. It's also telling you that they have a special tree, that Dan had a special tree that they use to make their little idol temples for their ancestors, the Danites used, right, the Garifuna, all right, which is not supposed to be done by us. We're supposed to worship Yahweh, not our ancestors, but they have a special wood that they use for that purpose. Just like the acacia wood was a special wood that was used for the building of the temple and some of the furniture and stuff. All right, so now it says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Gad means a large number of people. So when they came to America, they called North America the land of 500 nations, because there was more than 500 major families in North America. All right. So it says Gad, which means a large number of people, a troop shall overcome him. So a large number of people have now taken over America, and we not a minority. So we not a minority in America. We were the majority. So a large number of people conquer him, but we shall troop, meaning we shall grab the heel of our enemy at the end. So we're going to be instrumental. Gadites, that's why I say Gad is going to be working with Judah. Gad is going to be instrumental at the last of conquering our enemies. So Gad, Judah, and Levi are going to be very instrumental. Judah because who he is. Gad because the scriptures say so right here. And Levi because he's already been a part of every freedom fight that Israel has had in the Bible that was major. Whether you're talking about Moses, whether you're talking about Josephus, whether you're talking about the Maccabees, you see that? That's Levi, or whether you're talking about America, when they got their freedom from the French on the island of Haiti, which is Levi, the first people to get freedom from the colonialists was the tribe of Levi. So that's how Levi's gonna be instrumental. So when we talk about Gad, the North American Indians, the troops shall overcome him. Gad is the only place where the white man came and said, we're gonna conquer this place from what? What did he say? From sea to shining sea. See, we know that. From sea to shining sea. So where did they do that at? On Gad's territory. Everybody knows that the American continent is the main continent that was totally conquered by Europeans, not Africa, not China, not Asia, not South America, not Mexico, but America. It's totally conquered, like the Bible said. A troop, which means a large number of people, is going to overcome and conquer. That's how we know that Gad is in North America. And we're going to Genesis, and when we're going to Deuteronomy 33, it tells us that Gad and Judah are going to be together. All right, so Gad is going to overcome at the last. Now, this word at the last in the Hebrew is Aikwab, which means heel. So it's telling us that Gad is going to be the one that's going to prophecy associated with his heels of his foot, which is going into the prophecy of what? The Trail of Tears.
Oh.
The Trail of Tears. When they marched Gadites from the Pacific to the middle of America to Oklahoma. A lot of us died along the way.
Right, okay.
I'm not from the Atlantic.
Right, from Florida up to
Florida, Carolinas,
all the way
all the way to Oklahoma, man.
Right.
That was the Trail of Tears. So Gad is going to troop. So there's two things in this prophecy we see in the Hebrew. We see Gad, which is a large number of people. And the first letter of Gad is what? Which means what? A camel. Which is known for what?
Long travel.
Long travel. And Gad had to do what?
Long travel.
And once they got to Oklahoma, the white man said, this is your what?
Territory or land.
And what you have in your territorial land, where you going to go to? Your home. And how do you get into your home? And how do we say door in Hebrew? And what letter is Dalah? So you got Ga and Da, Gad. See, all of our name have that whole long history on it. You see that? The whole name tell you the story. You're going to go on a long trip, you know what I'm saying? But some of y'all going to be sustained, and you're going to go to your home. This is going to be your new home, which is Oklahoma. So that's what they did. You see that? So now, Gad is the so-called North American Indians. Whether they light-skinned, dark-skinned, brown, or, pale. If your father and your ancestors are the Gadites that are not the European type, cool?
Yeah.
Then you a Gadite. Don't let nobody intimidate you, or you're not dark enough. You too light. If you know your family history, don't worry about what nobody else say, think, or feel. Because ain't nobody got no heaven to put you into, or no hell to put you into. Nobody got a hell to throw you into, or a heaven to keep you out of. We all servants of the Most High at the end of the day.
Right. Our judgment will come from
And remember, Yahushua warned us of people that was going to go around the world trying to get disciples, and was going to make them people even more ready for hell than before they met them. Which means you waking people up, but you're waking them up into darkness. Okay? So now, in keep going. Genesis 49.
Verse 20.
Go ahead.
From Asher, his bread will have richness.
So Asher's bread will have riches. So Asher's going to be able to live off of the bread that he produces. Now this is going into the whole world. And Asher living off of what? The potato came from Asher in South America. The yucca and the cassava, maniac, all that came from the maniac verb, the maniac food, not maniac in Arabic. All of that comes from Asher. Okay? The quinoa, all that comes from Asher. All the different forms of potatoes, sweet potato, the white potato, the yam,
Yeah, they got
the Irish potato.
They have hundreds of variations of potatoes.
Hundreds. All that comes from Asher. So Asher going to be satisfied with what? With bread. His bread should be fat, meaning it's going to be nutritious, healthy. Feed the world. And what else does it mean? Check this out. The largest oil deposits in the world are found in South America. Venezuela. And in Brazil got oil. Colombia has oil. All right? So this is dealing with the actual word here in the Hebrew is shaman, which means oil. So say that Asher's gonna be dealing with oil, and Asher's gonna be dealing with grain. Food products from the ground. Because bread got to be made from the ground. And that's why Zebulon makes the cassava bread. A lot of indigenous people in South America make the cassava bread. All right? The cassava bread. In Belize, they grow cassava. These are all coming from South America, which originated these plants to make these foods. All right? That's why they call it the Garifuna. That's Garifuna. They brought the cassava up to, they liked it a lot. They liked it so much that Garifuna means the cassava eating people. Okay? So that must mean that they could have been the ones that showed the people how to make that bread. Because that bread, if you don't do it the right way, it has a toxin in it that it'll kill you if you eat it. Yeah.
Wow.
So Dan showed them how to do it. And that's why they called them the cassava eating people, most likely. Because they're the first ones to say, look, this is how you eat this bread. Before that, Asher wasn't rocking with it probably. So then Dan said, look, this is how you do it, bam. Dan has many names, real quick, just going back to Dan. They got Kalipuna, Garifuna, Galinago, Red Caribs, some Arawak. Remember, Arawak and Caribs was not real names, per se. The white man called whoever was peaceful Arawak. Whoever was war, he called them Carib. Okay. All right. So Asher, his bread shall be fat. Go ahead.
And he will provide kingly delicacies.
Kingly delicacies. What's that get into? Every year before they did the quinoa planting, I was trying to think of another word like sowing or something. Before they put the quinoa seeds in the ground, the ruler would come with a golden small shovel and the planting fork to till the ground that was made out of gold. And he would be the one that did the first plantings.
Right.
So it was a royal harvest. It was a royal planting. So that's what we're talking about, royal dainties, man. Asher did that. Mainly going into like Peru, like the Inca Empire. They did that. Okay? Royal dainties. All right, go ahead.
Naphtali is a hind let loose.
Naphtali is a hind let loose. The smallest deer in the world is found in Argentina and Chile. On Argentina's flag and Chile's flag and coat of arms, you have the deer. You have the deer. And in the Indian territory, you have the deer. The Andean deer, the highest altitudes, and you got the smallest little cute deer in the world found in South America, in Argentina and Chile. So that's why I say Naphtali is a hind let loose, because Naphtali also used to run into the mountains when they were fighting the Spaniards. They never got conquered by the Spaniards. They stayed in the mountains. And then when everything was over, they got their independence from the Spanish, whatever, they came down and said, okay, now what's up? You see that? So for all these people talk about a whole bunch of mixing, and that's why they light skinned. They didn't mix with the Spaniards. They kept, for the most part, separate from the Spaniards. They wasn't conquered by the Spaniards. They were too unreachable by the Spanish. So for people to say, oh, you light skinned or whatever because you mixed in Spaniard, that's not true. You don't know the history, man. People talk about things that they haven't studied out of a defense mechanism because they don't want to be wrong. But if you want to be wrong about what you're saying, know what you're saying and look at both sides first. You got to consider both matters and weigh both positions of your position to see if you're right or wrong.
Pro and con.
Pro and con, exactly. That's something that every scholar should do. Every teacher knows to do that. Look at both sides of what you're saying. And we've been looking at both sides of this for let me say it like this, over a quarter century. Over a quarter century, we've been looking at this information and this data. And no one can come and say, you guys, everybody wants to say, oh, the 12 tribes chart is wrong and this and that. Okay, but nobody's coming to break down these prophecies like we're doing now in the Torah.
Or come with a better son.
Yeah, come with, okay, who is Asher? Who is Zebulon? Who is Dan? Show us. I don't mean
Prove.
better than what we're showing in the prophecies here.
Right.
You can't be like, oh yeah, they do this too. No, how do they, this is the full prophecy. Somebody that fully fits everything it's saying.
Right.
How did they conquer the troop? First of all, do they call themselves troop? Because the Gadites, they troop, they assemble themselves in large families, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Large families, and they fit the story. The story is movement of people with animals to a homeland, a new homeland. That's Gad. That's literally Gad. Large movement, people, animals, and then going through a door. See that? All right, so it say Naphtali is a hind let loose. Naphtali is a deer. What did it say? Read.
Naphtali is a hind let loose,
Mhm.
who delivers beautiful sayings.
Delivers what?
Beautiful sayings.
The whole Mapuche and the whole culture of Chile, Argentina, was based on what? Local poetry. And there's some African tribes too that got this characteristic of poetry. So we got to look at them also. But we know Argentina and Chile is short shot Naphtali. Light skin and dark skin, straight hair and kinky hair. You came in slavery, you was already there, you still Naphtali, it don't matter. You know, who said the Most High only let, you read in the Bible, when you read in 2 King, 1 Kings chapter 12, I think it is, it tells you that the tribes went into the southern kingdom. The northern tribes went to the southern kingdom to live. So they was having babies and children down there with Judah and Benjamin. So if they're the minority, what their children gonna look like? You know, then when they go into West Africa, the Most High separated them and brought them back to their ancient tribes, man. That's how it happened. All right. So now say Naphtali is a hind left loose that he give goodly words. That's the different types of poetry.
And the largest poetry.
And yeah. The largest book fair in the world in Latin America, over 1 million people come, is held where? In Buenos Aires, Argentina. Every year. Buenos Aires, Argentina. Give goodly words. Matter of fact,
I mean, their culture is based on poetry. They have poetry for rites of passage.
everything in life.
Everything in life.
Marriage, rites of passage, war, death,
Depression.
you know,
social
depression,
issues.
happy. Everything had a song or poem about it, and they memorized these poems, and they would do them like freestyle
Right. Off the dome.
off the dome. You know what I'm saying? So now you also have one of the most famous authors. His name is everybody knows him in Central America, Latino countries, Pablo Neruda. Remember we had Pablo Neruda right before you got to the Oxo, when you're walking up the hill, there's that little court right there. That little court, the privado on the right hand side. It's called Pedro. Remember somebody stopped us one time asking us about it? Pablo Neruda. I said, oh, Pablo Neruda is right there. How do I know Pablo Neruda? Because I looked at the literature and stuff in Chile and Argentina. He's one of the most famous ones. But his real name his real name is Naphtali. Now he's Basque from Spain, so-called Spaniard, but his name is Naphtali. And he was one of the most famous authors, poets, literary figures in the whole Spanish-speaking world. That's Spain, Brazil, anywhere. Not Brazil, but Spain and Colombia, Venezuela. And he's all the way at the bottom, Uruguay, Paraguay. He's one of the most famous authors. All right? So that's going into Pedro, is Naphtali Basso Alto, I believe, is his Gentile, his Spanish name, his birth name. So that's how Naphtali give the goodly words. The poetry that they write is, you can cut it on and use it. You sign me up. The poetry that they use is world famous. The poetry that they use is still in effect to the day. To this day! Now listen. Argentina. How does Argentina link up with goodly words? Well, goodly words are stories and poems and different sayings, right? There was a guy that wrote a poem in South about Argentina. You know what he called the poem? La Argentina. What does La Argentina mean? It means the place of silver. Because there was silver all over the place in the waters and stuff when they went to Argentina. It was easy to find silver. So when they found it, they said, oh, this is La Argentina. We're going to call this the silver, the place of silver. But it was named after what? After a poem. Like a poem or like a book that a guy wrote called La Argentina. So even the name Argentina comes from poetry and literature, goodly word. Now again, show anybody else on the planet besides Argentina and Chile that fulfill this prophecy. Now we're not even going to get into possess the South and the North. We're going to leave that alone. Go ahead.
A charming son is Joseph, a charming son to the eye.
It says Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. All right. So a place to well where they all want to get to, Cuba and Puerto Rico, and running over the wall means that Cubans and Puerto Ricans can come into America at will when they want to. There's only one other there's only one other tribe. No other tribe can do that. Only Naphtali and only Ephraim, Puerto Rico, and only Cuba. All right, Manasseh. No other tribes can do that. I'm not talking about exceptions to like Benjamin is on U.S. Virgin Islands. They can come up when they want to, but not all Benjamin.
Right.
But all of Ephraim, all of Manasseh. That's what they're talking about when he say that his branches run over the wall. He can get over Trump. In other words, Trump's wall don't exist for Cuba and Puerto Rico.
Right.
They can come up to America when they want to, how they want to. Except for the Cubans, when they come, they might not be let back in if they go back. But they can go if they want to. That's the catch-22 on that. Okay, that's catch-22. So now, read what he's saying.
Each of the daughters climbed heights to get.
So also, Cuba, the word Cuba means where fertile land is abundant. That's what Cuba means. There's a lot of fertile land. Cuba itself. So when I talk about a fruitful bow, it's getting into that land is going to be fertile. And land is going to be fruitful. All right? That's what fruitful land is abundant. That's what Cuba means. Okay? The arch is what?
They embittered him and became antagonists.
So, at the end of the verse? Go ahead.
The arrow-tongued men hated him.
So that's getting into the arrow-tongued men, the men that was warriors. They hated Cuba, and that's why they went down to Cuba, and they wanted to overtake Cuba. And that's when the Manasseh rose up with Fidel Castro and Che Guevara leading them, but it was the Manasseites that fought off the U.S. when the Bay of Pigs happened with Kennedy trying to invade Cuba.
Well, the military-industrial complex went through the invasion, and Bush through the CIA orchestrated it, but it didn't work.
So Puerto Rico is the Borinquen, which is the land of the noble lords. All right. So the archers have grieved him. So the U.S. with their missiles, they said we're gonna shoot everything over there into smithereens if y'all don't deal with this little missile crisis we got. They was ready to go to war. All right. So they shot at him and hated him. So the U.S. shot at Cuba, even Puerto Rico. Look at that. They shot at Cuba and they hated Cuba. All right. Because they literally went to war and were shooting the Cubans. This is literal. This literally happened. They literally shot at Cuba, and they hated Cuba how long? Because we don't want nobody buying or selling nothing with Cuba.
Right.
That's pure hatred.
Because Cuba repelled America's imperialism.
Exactly.
Basically, what you happened in the 60s, the mob went to the government and said, well, look, we can make Cuba our playground, embezzlement, money laundering, and they were all for it. But then Fidel rose up with Che Guevara and repelled that action, took all the American companies that were invested in Cuba, and then in retaliation, America put this long-standing embargo against Cuba.
Right. So that's how they shot at them. And also, when you leave from Puerto Rico, what do you have? You have a firing range, a testing site for weapons at Vieques. That the Ephraimites down there, they hate that place, man. All types of bombs and toxins and dust and disturbances going into the atmosphere, man. They hate that place. It's called Vieques, Bieques. Check it out. So they doing shooting to this day, on Ephraim's land. You see that? Verse 24, go ahead.
But his bow was firmly in place, and his arms were gilded.
So the Most High allowed Manasseh to hold strong. Go ahead.
That was from the Elohim of your father, and he will help you. Wait, no. from the hands of the mighty power of Jacob. From there he shepherded the stone of Yasha'Allah,
Okay, go ahead.
that was from the Elohim of your father,
Mm-hmm.
and he will help you,
Mm-hmm.
and with Shaddai, and he will bless you with blessings of heaven from above, blessings of the deep crouching below, blessings of the bosom and womb,
Mm-hmm.
blessings of your father surpass the blessings of my parents to the endless bounds of the world's hills. Let them be upon Joseph's head, and upon the head of the exile from his brothers.
So they got the hills there. In Puerto Rico, you have the hill El Yunque, which the story was there's a god that lives in this mountain, and that god that lives in the mountain, when he's angry with the people, he turns his back on them. He has a golden throne. And when he's cool with them, he gives them all type of blessings and rain for their waters and showers them with good things. And when he's angry with them, he turns his back to them. And they have war, disease, and pestilence from this mountain, El Yunque. That's what they call it, El Yunque. All right? And also, the god that they worshiped in the ancient times was called what? They called that god Yaya. I'm sorry, they called it Yaya. All right? And his son was called Yayael. So the god was called Yaya, his son was called Yayael. And his son came down to earth, and his son was like a important figure to protect the people on the earth. Study the history. Yaya and Yayael. All right, look it up. Yaya space Yayael. Everything I'm saying can be verified through independent research to see if these things are true. All right, so Joseph is the one that kept everything going for a long time for Yasha'Allah, for Israel. All right, go ahead.
Benjamin is a predatory wolf.
Benjamin is a predatory wolf. So Benjamin would go in on the islands from Jamaica to Trinidad to Barbados. They would go in like a wolf hunts when? A wolf hunts right before sunset and right before sunrise, when it's that little area of darkness and light. And that's what the Jamaicans, that's what the Trinidadians, all right?
Maroons.
That's what the Maroons would do. Once they got off the plantation, they would go and raid the plantations. This happened all throughout the Caribbean without them even knowing that the other ones were doing it, because it's the nature of Benjamin and the prophecies. You're not going to find no group of people, no place on it I haven't seen that systematically were doing this to their oppressors. So he was like the wolf. Read.
In the morning he will devour prey.
So in the morning he would go out and devour the prey. Morning, right when the sun is coming up, before that sunrise hit good, he was already finished and he was ready to get his prey. Go ahead.
And in the evening he will distribute spoil.
Because right before the evening, right before nighttime came, he was going out to get the spoils again. See, it's telling you right here. In the morning, he already devoured the spoil, and in that evening and nighttime, he divided the spoils. And in the morning, what's he doing? In the morning,
He will devour.
he's devouring the prey. So he'd go out and do these attacks. Bam, 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 bam. Then nighttime, bam, attacking, getting food, freeing slaves, and bringing them back to the maroon areas, man. That's what Benjamin was doing all across the Caribbean. Simultaneously not knowing the other one was doing it. Because this is the prophecy that had to get fulfilled. Go ahead.
Oh, that's not the right portion.
Okay, good. All right. Keep on going, man.
Con. All these are the tribes of Israel, 12.
These are the 12 tribes of Israel. Go ahead.
And this is what their father spoke to them.
And you notice that when we read about it, it's all in the same geographic area. Because these prophecies were supposed to happen in the last days where Israel was gathered. Now we know we got tribes over in South Africa. Because a lot of people forget they brought slaves to South Africa too. Black slaves and Hindu-looking slaves from the lower caste, the Dalits, from the Dalits, and they brought Sidi slaves there too. And there were slaves there from other countries in Africa and in the Middle East. They were buying slaves and bringing them to South Africa. You see? In Cameroon, all right? In Nigeria, there's Israelites in all these different countries, man. But what's their culture? What's their language? What's their habits? What's their customs? But most of these tribes, the poster tribes for these tribes is in the Americas. All right, go ahead.
And he blessed them. He blessed each according to his appropriate blessing. Then he instructed them, And he said to them, I shall be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field
What's the
of
last verse?
Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which faces Mamre in the land of Canaan, which Abraham brought with the field of Ephron the Hittite as a burial estate.
Okay.
There they buried Abraham and Sarah, his
So
wife.
again, it was important to have a burying place for your family. Go ahead.
There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife,
Uh-huh.
and there I buried Leah. Purchase of the field and the cave within it, it was from the sons of Heth. When Jacob finished instructing his sons, he drew his feet onto the bed. He expired and was gathered to his people.
So he gathered to his people, meaning he went to sleep. All right. It's a euphemism for you, you're gonna chill. Now, when Jacob got dead, Jacob didn't come back through visions and through special rituals to talk. You don't see none of that happening in the Bible. And the people that did it in the Bible was witches, and the Most High said not to do it. So for us now to think for us, for Haitians and for Judah and Yoruba and for Voodoo and for Garifuna, Simeon, to think that, oh, it's okay to go and pull up an ancestor to do something. No, that's evil, man. That's wicked. We ain't supposed to be doing that type of stuff, period. That's necromancy, man. You're not supposed to be calling the dead back.
He did.
They dead. All right. Okay, so Mario, let's do 26. Let's do chapter 50. Do you Kalashara?
Law. Kalashara,
Kalashara.
Bari Hal,
Bari Hal.
Naisha,
Naisha.
Nashima.
Nashima.
All they hell it said,
All they hell it said.
what we doing here.
What we doing here?
All right, Mario.
Verse 1 to 26.
Look on the phone. But the phone is an hour. That one is an hour behind the thing. Can you do it on there? Oh. Go ahead.
Then Joseph fell upon his father's face. He wept over him and kissed him. Joseph ordered his servants, the physician, to embalm his father. So the physician embalmed Yashala. His 40-day term was completed, for such is the term of the embalmed. And Egypt bewailed him. And Egypt bewailed him for 70 days. When his bewailing period passed, Joseph spoke to Pharaoh's household, saying, If you please, if I have found favor in your eyes, speak now in the ears of Pharaoh, saying, My father had adjured me, saying, Behold, I am about to die, in my grave which I have hewn for myself in the land of Canaan. There you are to bury me. Now I will go up, if you please, and bury my father. Then I will return. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father, as he adjured you. So Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all Pharaoh's servants, the elders of his household, and all the elders of the land of Egypt, and all Joseph's household, his brothers and his father's household.
So that's why the Most High said that the Egyptians don't abhor them, because you were strangers in their land. And when we were there with them before they got evil against us, we had a pretty good relationship with them based on what Joseph had done for them. It was the new king that rose up, and then he was the one that got brand new with us and started doing evil against our people, man. Okay.
Only their young children, their flocks, and their cattle did they leave in the region of Goshen, and he brought up with him both chariots and horsemen, and the camp was very imposing. They came to go.
So you got a whole lot of people that he brought together to go do that burying place.
They came to Goren Ha'atad, which is across the Jordan, and they held a very great and imposing eulogy, and he ordained a 7-day mourning period for his father. When the Canaanite inhabitants of the land saw the mourning in Goren Ha'atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning for Egypt. Therefore it was named Avel Miraim, which is across the Jordan. His sons did for him exactly as he had instructed them. His sons carried him to the land of Canaan, and they buried him in the cave of the Machpelah field, the field that Abraham had bought as a burial estate from Ephron the Hittite, facing Mamre. Joseph returned to Egypt, and he, his brothers, and all who had gone up with him to bury his father. After he buried his father, Joseph's brothers perceived that their father was dead, and they said, "Perhaps Joseph will nurse hatred against us, and then he will surely repay us all the evil that we did to him." So they instructed that Joseph be told, "Your father gave orders before his death, saying, 'Thus shall you say to Joseph, oh, please kindly forgive the spiteful deed of your brothers and their sin, for they have done you evil. So now, please forgive the spiteful deed of your servants, of your fathers on high.'" And Joseph wept, and they spoke to him. His brothers themselves also went and flung it before themselves. And he said, "We are ready to be your slaves." But Joseph said to them, "Fear not, for am I instead of Elohim. Although you intended me harm, Elohim intended it for good, in order to accomplish, as it is clear to this day, that a vast people be kept alive. So now, fear not, I will sustain you and your young ones." Thus he comforted them and spoke to their heart. Joseph dwelt in Egypt, he and his father's household, and Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph saw 3 generations through Ephraim. Even the sons of Machir, son of Manasseh, were raised on Joseph's knees. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am about to die, but Elohim will surely remember you and bring you up out of this land, to the land that he swore to Abraham."
So when it talks about Joseph, man, it's telling you look at the generations. Okay? You got Joseph and his family that came to Egypt, and you have Ephraim. They have Ephraim's children of the 3rd generation from Ephraim. He saw the children of Ephraim to the 3rd generation, right? So that's Ephraim, then 1, 2, 3. So that's grandson, great-grandson, and great-great-grandson. So he saw 4 generations of his descendants, man. That's why I said that we wasn't being enslaved by the Egyptians all that time we were down there. Okay? It was only after Joseph died that now the Egyptians became ungrateful toward what we should do to them. And now this Hamite African king rose up against us and started to oppress us. Okay? All right, go ahead.
Then Joseph adjured the children of Yashar'alah, saying, "When Elohim will indeed remember you, then you must bring my bones up out of here."
Right.
Joseph died at the age of 110 years.
Right.
They embalmed him, and he was placed in a coffin in Egypt. Kal Shara,
Kalashara,
Bari Hala,
Ibar Yahweh,
Na'isha,
Naisha,
Benashemai.
Wenashema.
All that Yahweh had said,
All that Yahweh said,
what we doing here?
what we doing here. Let's get into the Torah portion now. I mean the prophets reading. Let's go ahead and start it.
David's days drew near to die, and he instructed his son Solomon, saying, I go the way of all the earth.
So this is once again David doing the same thing that his father Jacob did, which is getting his sons ready, his descendant ready for his demise, ready for his death. Okay. ahead.
Be strong and become a man. Safeguard the charge of Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways, to observe his decrees, commandments, ordinances, and testimonies, as written in the Torah of Moshe of Mashah, so that you will succeed in all that you do, and wherever you turn, so that Yahweh will uphold his word that he spoke regarding me, saying, if your children will safeguard their way, to walk before me sincerely.
So if the people do upright before the Most High, okay, keep the commandments. All right, let's keep the commandments of the Most High. Walk uprightly before Yahweh. Okay. The Most High saying He's gonna protect them. All right. Okay. Go ahead.
With all their heart and with all their soul, saying, no man of you will be cut off from the throne of Yasharim. Furthermore, you know what Joab, son of Zeruiah, did to me, what he did to those two leaders of the armies of Yasharim, to Abner, son of Ner, and to Amasa, son of Jether, whom he killed, thereby shedding blood of war.
You see that? So now, you know, I really like this part because this shows you how Israel, man, has some little ruthlessness in our blood, man. Because now he giving his son basically what? What would you call this? A hit list. Bring it down, bring it forward a little bit. Like a hit list, man. Forward more, man. About right there. He giving his son a hit list like, yo, when I die, you know, this is who needs to go. He needs to settle. He said, look, when I die, this is what you're gonna need to do. You definitely need to visit this man, definitely needs to visit him, and definitely needs to visit him. He's giving a list of everybody that needs to die. See that? Read that part again, man.
Furthermore, you know what Joab, the son of Zeruiah, did to me.
Now, Joab was like David's right-hand man. Remember, he was with David from like almost the jump street, the beginning. But he sold David out, right? He sold David out. He sold David out. Turned his back on him. And was the cause of Absalom getting murdered. Getting killed in war, but David said, don't kill him. Go ahead.
What he did to two leaders of the armies of Yasharim,
Uh-huh.
to Abner, son of Ner, and to Amasa, son of Jether, whom he killed, thereby shedding blood of war in peacetime, placing the blood of war on the girdle that is on his loins, and on his shoes that are on his feet. You shall act according to your wisdom, and not let his white hair go down to the grave in peace.
So they said, don't let him die a nice old age, but get him off the earth now. In other words, kill him soon. Go ahead.
To the children of Barzillai, the Gileadite, act with kindness, and they shall be among those who eat at your table, for so they
You
befriended
said Gilead or Gibeon?
Gileadite,
Okay.
act with kindness, and they shall be among those who eat at your table.
Stop that. Stop that. Go ahead.
For they befriended me during my flight from Absalom, your brother.
Go ahead.
Behold, with you is Shimi, son of Gera, the Benjamite, from Bethurim. He cursed me with a powerful curse on the day I went to Makhidan, but he came down to meet me at the Jordan, and I swore to him by Yahweh, saying, I will not put you to death by the sword, but now you are not to hold him guiltless, for you are a wise man.
You see that? He said David said he wasn't going to kill him, but now David is saying, I told him I wasn't going to kill him, but now you, Solomon, you need to handle that. You see that? You need to handle that. So yeah, it was over, and David forgave him, but the dude he had an insolent bad spirit on him. So David said, man, you need to go ahead and take care of that. So his past sin against the king came to visit him again. So always respect the authority, man. Always respect the authority righteously. And stay in order and don't disrespect people, man. That's one thing you got to learn in life. Just don't disrespect people, man. Don't call anybody out their name. Don't talk evil about people. Don't talk about them behind their backs. Don't be sneaky, man. Nobody likes a person like that. And if you rocking with a person like that, and you know they like that, then you grimy yourself, man. You grimy yourself. Don't deal with people like that, period. If you know somebody is a backstabber, they trying to just stir up trouble and keeping brothers against each other, don't deal with that person, man. Leave them alone. Read that part again.
But now you are not to hold him guiltless.
So he was running his mouth against the king. David left it alone. Dude was still being disrespectful. Now David said, okay, we're going to kill him. When I die, kill him. Go ahead.
For you are a wise man, and you will know what you are to do to him, and you are to bring down his white hair to the grave in blood.
You see that? Bring down his white hair to the grave in blood. Hey man, I'm about to die. Can you bring down his white hair to the grave in blood for me? I need you to do that for me. Imagine your father giving you a list of people that need to get killed before he died. That's why people act like Israelites are some punks, man. No, we not punks. We just got a switch that Yahushua haven't flipped yet. But we getting ourselves tempered in obedience and discipline to the Torah. And a lot of y'all brothers, a lot of us brothers that's in leadership, a lot of us brothers that's in some position, low and high, when the crap hits the fan, man, we ain't going to be in the position that we think we're going to be in. Why? Because we don't have that discipline. We leading and making decisions based on our emotions and based on our feelings. And that ain't the way we're supposed to be doing it. All right, go ahead.
David lay with his forefathers, and he was buried in the city of David.
So David, he died, and he lay with his fathers that were buried with him. Go ahead.
The days that David reigned over Yasharal were 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
In Hebron, he reigned for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in Jerusalem, he reigned for 33 years.
So he reigned in Hebron, and then he reigned in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Solomon sat on the throne of David, his father, and his kingship was firmly established.
All right. Hallelujah. What's the thesaurus section? Anybody remember? Got it on here. The thesaurus section is John chapter 13, verse 1 through 19. John 13, 1 through 19. John 13, 1 through 19.
John chapter 13, verse 1 through 19. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour was come.
So what are all of these things? These are people putting things together before their death. These are people putting things together before their death, getting things in order, getting things set up the right way before they die. Our father Yaakov, Jacob did it. Our great king Dawad and Dawayad did it. And our Messiah King Yahushua, he did it. Go ahead.
That he should depart out of this world unto the Father,
Mhm.
having loved his own which were in the world.
He loved his own between his disciples that were in the world, his students, the lost sheep. Go ahead.
He loved them unto the end.
Mm-hmm.
And supper being ended, the devil having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him.
So the devil entered into this man to betray his own brother. In the same way as the devil has entered into these other brothers to betray their brothers, and say that their own brothers are not their brothers anymore. You see that? saying that their own brothers are not their brothers, and exalting a platform to preach this gospel. Or you're not my brother no more. And your time should be focused on waking up who is your brother, as opposed to wasting time on us people that you say are not your brother. I don't see nobody making no videos like, yeah, the Hindus ain't Israelites, the Hindus ain't Israelites, or the Chinese. Why you not making videos about that? The one other people on the planet Earth that's trying to keep the Torah and recognize themselves as Israelite on the same level as you do, them are the very same people that you decide to say they're not Israelites and make all types of videos and presentations and special mentionings of them. What sense does that make, man? So the devil entered into Judas, and the devil had entered into a lot of you brothers, man. And the devil, has entered into our people to be divided against our own people, man. Hashatan have done that. And the Most High, guess what? Gave him authorization to do it. I got it.
To betray him, Yahushua, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he was come from Elohim.
So that's what I said to people the other day in the video. You know what the whole end of the story is going to be. You know we're going to end up victorious. If we endure to the end, we shall be saved. And we're going to go into the kingdom, and we're going to have that eternal life. So Yahushua knew that all things was in his hands. He just had to go through with that persecution, with that death, with that pain, knowing what his reward was going to be. Go ahead.
And went to Elohim. He riseth from supper, and laid aside his garments, and took a towel, and girded himself.
Okay.
After that, he poureth water into a basin.
So he put himself into a humble position toward his brothers, even though he was the King of Kings. Go ahead.
And he began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded. Then he cometh to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? Yahushua answered, and said unto him, What I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. Peter saith unto him, Thou shalt never wash my feet. Yahushua answered, If I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me.
So Yahushua said, I gotta wash your feet as one of my last forms of humility toward you brothers, to show you how to treat each other, man. To be humble toward the brothers and to be servants to your people. Go ahead.
Simon Peter saith unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head.
So Simon said, man, if that's what it takes to be a part of you and to have that fellowship in the spirit with what you can do and how we can be righteously working together to wake up our people and bring them closer to the Father, man, wash my feet, wash my leg, wash my back, wash my neck. Don't just wash my feet. So the more you wash me, the more I get clean, the more fellowship I'm going to have with you, and the more I'm going to be like you. Man, wash everything. Wash my hair. Okay? Go ahead.
Yahushua saith unto him, He that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not
He said,
all.
he that is wise only needs to wash his feet as a symbol, and you clean you're clean everywhere. Because this is symbolic. Go ahead.
For he knew who should betray him.
He knew Judas was going to betray him. You can look at these brothers, man. Like, man, I can look at a lot of your brothers, man, be like, yo, that brother's off. He going to do something crazy. But I just let everything play out because I don't know what prophecy is going to be fulfilled or not. All right? You look at, I know 3 brothers, man. I'm looking at all 3 brothers. Like, yo, dude is kind of bug. He kind of off a little bit. And like the lady said in the message, right as rain, each time the brothers do something either off. I'm a pretty good judge of a brother's character in terms of long-term commitment to what he stands for now. I had 3 brothers. I said, man, this brother is off a little bit. And all of them, each one of them brothers, man, have done something that was off, way off, against the structure and the order of what we stand for as with the articles of belief of Mashallah Yashla. A government which crosses camp lines, organization lines, individual lines to bring our people together in the spirit of Zephaniah 2:1, in repentance and in obedience and in order to Yahweh by Shem HaMashiach Yahushua. Go ahead.
For he knew who should betray him.
He knew who was going to betray him. Go ahead.
Therefore said he, Ye are not all clean. So after he had washed their feet,
Mhm.
and had taken his garments, and was set down again, he said unto them, Know ye what I have done unto you? Ye call me Master and Lord, and ye say, Well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet,
Mhm.
ye also ought to wash one another's feet.
So Yahushua said, like, look, I've humbled myself to you, so y'all gotta humble yourself to each other. And a lot of you men and you leaders out there and you teachers out there, you've humbled yourself to your people. And you put yourself right here with them. You haven't put yourself up here. What I've noticed in Israel, man, is two type of people that stay in power usually. The people that distance themselves a lot. And people don't challenge them. And people are just grimy and hard, you know, exercising lordship over their people, man. But the brothers that deal with the brothers as equals, because we're all equals, and as peers, but just maybe you got a little more tenure and experience in a certain area, and brothers like that, man, have a hard time. Because our people like to have stuff rough and wrong toward them. It's like a woman in a relationship a lot of times. Everybody know how it go in the world. The dude that's nice and cool, she don't want him. Nice and smooth with her. She wants the dude that's going to be, you know, verbally abusive toward her. That's going to play her and dog her out. And she going to chase him down, right? That's the real world. And our people the exact same way. The brothers that really want to stand up for Yasha'Allah and bring Yasha'Allah together, y'all try to push them brothers out the way. Because Satan enters into your spirit, man. Don't want to use that brotherhood to build up Yasha'Allah. But the brothers that's scheming, that's shady, that's grimy, all right? The brothers that's about division, the brothers that don't want to unite the nation together, them brothers always get the spotlight in the forefront. Because Israel like drama. Israel like to be ruled over like a lord. Israel like that slave master mentality. And that's what a lot of brothers display toward our people, is a slave master mentality. You all are here for me. I'm your Lord. Bring me your money. Bring me the tithes. I'm going to teach you the Bible, and that's it. Go ahead, keep reading.
For I have given you an example,
He's giving us an example of how to be humble toward each other. Read.
that ye should do as I have done unto you.
Uh-huh.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord,
Go ahead.
neither he that is sent greater than he that is sent him.
So Yahushua is under the Father, and the men are under Yahushua, and guess what? The woman is under the man. But a lot of you buck up against Yahushua, use his sacrifice as a reason to sin. A lot of you buck up against your husband and use your husband as a reason that I don't got to obey you. I can just do what I want to do because you didn't do this the right way, so I'm not going to obey you no more. That's evil and wrong, and the Most High hates that. He hates division, man. Go ahead.
If you know these things, happy are ye if you do them.
Mm-hmm.
I speak not of all of you. I know whom I have chosen, but that the scripture may be fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
He that eateth bread with me hath lifted up his heel against me.
Lift up his what?
His heel against me.
Lifted up his heel against me. Meaning you have walked your butt into the enemy and went against Yahushua. Go ahead.
Now I tell you before it come, that when it come to pass, you may believe that I am he. Verily, verily, I
So I'm
say.
showing you this prophecy about what's going to happen to me, so you have more faith that he is Yahushua. Go ahead.
That was verse 19.
Okay. All right. So hallelujah. So that's the Torah reading for this week. All right. That's Torah reading for this week. The reading of Vayeki, Genesis 47:28 to the whole chapter 50, 1 Kings 2, verses 1 through 12, and John chapter 13, verse 1 through 19. So those are that's the Torah reading, that's the Tanakh reading from the prophets, or the other parts of the Tanakh, and then from the Brit or the Basora, which is all the Mikra, the Makra'ah of Yahweh. I think he wants you to count them or something. It's all the Makra'ah of Yahweh. All right. All right, so that's it. All right. Remember now, the next new moon is January 23rd. The next new moon is January January 23rd, so-called Thursday night. January 23rd, so-called Thursday night. All right, and the next new moon after that is February 22nd on so-called Saturday night. All right, so January 23rd is the next new moon, the 11th new moon, and February 22nd will be the 12th new moon, and the first new moon is gonna be on 3/23, Yasha Allah New Year. 3/23, March 23rd, Yasha Allah New Year. All right, so all praise to Yahweh, Bashem HaMashiach, Yahweh Shai. All right, hallelujah. Yabarakakam Yahweh, Bashem HaMashiach, Yahweh Shai. Shalom. Put